Football Saturday here on ABC as we are in the Big 12. Texas A&M facing Oklahoma, a couple of disappointing teams, at least as far as expectations before the start of the season, but still with things on their minds. John Saunders, Craig James, and Aaron Taylor. It's surprising to say at this point Oklahoma's playing for second place, really. I mean, they have an outside shot to catch Texas, but it's really an outside shot. And Texas A&M is just playing to try and become bowl eligible.
Well, I tell you what they better be playing today is a little defense, because a guy named Adrian Peterson is back. The guy's not 100%, but he looks like he's 100%. This guy ran with passion. He ran with purpose, and there was nothing Nebraska could do about it. This is the heart and soul of the Sooner football team. Make no mistake about it. He's not 100%, but I tell you what he does is he goes out there and he plays hard and he sends a message to his teammates in the huddle and on the sidelines. Fellas, we got to play. Now, the good news for Texas A&M, they're so bad on defense, it might be a slow death. You know what I'm saying? A&M's going to, rather than throwing the ball, Rhett Bomar's not going to do that. Peterson will nail him on the ground.
I'll tell you what, if A&M guys has a chance in this ball game, they're going to need a huge game out of quarterback Reggie McNeil. We all know he's a dynamic quarterback player. He can throw he can throw the football, he can make plays with his legs. But what A&M needs out of McNeil more than anything is leadership. They need a spark. This team needs to win one of the next two to even be bowl eligible. This is a team that we had great expectations coming in this year. If A&M has a chance, they need a great day out of their quarterback. They need something to get a spark.
All right, we're down to 3 unbeaten teams, and we could be looking at what we saw last year, which was 3 unbeatens going into the championship game. Number 1 USC faces the last team to beat them, Cal, and that was in a triple overtime game. Imagine what the streak could be. Kansas against number 2 Texas should be no problem, although Kansas is doing a lot of talking before that game. And Alabama, I think, of those 3 teams is going to have the toughest time.
Well, but you know what? Only the home team has won 5 of the last 23 games in this series, so it doesn't bode well for Alabama. And I tell you what, LSU and their penalties and turnovers, if they do that today, they won't win.
I'll tell you one thing that they do well is play special teams. They are on opposite ends of the spectrum, and in a game that's going to be very defensive, guys, field position will play a big factor.
Of course, we will follow those games and all the rest of the important ones throughout the day, and we'll see you at halftime. But coming up next, it's Oklahoma facing Texas A&M. After this message and a word from our ABC stations.
Their success is powered by AP. Running back Adrian Peterson. He is the difference maker for OU. Finally healthy, Peterson has put the Sooners on his shoulders, and for the first time this year, Oklahoma is looking like the elite Big 12 team expected at the start of the season. For Texas A&M, their opposing weapon, quarterback Reggie McNeil, a playmaker who's equally dangerous through the air or on the ground, and would like nothing better than to stun the Sooners. Can he do it? Find out right now on ABC. ABC's coverage of college football welcomes you, Soonerland. This is Oklahoma. Welcome, everybody. Texas A&M is here. They are hoping for the upset today. 2 coaches meeting, pregame ceremonies, 2 teams on the field, and a full house. Welcome, everybody. For Texas A&M, the hope they can get it going. They've lost their last 2. Texas Tech beat them last week, 56-17. For Oklahoma, week off. Week before that, they beat Nebraska 31-24. That's how they come to meet here today. Welcome, everybody. I'm Gary Thorne along with Ed Cunningham. Great to have you with us. We get to look at an Oklahoma team that's probably playing their best football of the season right now. Some of the injured people are back. A quarterback who started game 2 and has since is growing in the position, and a running back who may be the best in the country.
Yeah, Rhett Bomar's pretty happy to have number 28 standing behind him. Adrian Peterson started the season off like he ended last year with 1,925 yards and second to the Heisman. And then he had a bad ankle injury. It started against TCU. It got worse against Kansas State. Did not play a few weeks ago against Baylor. That really helped him. Against Nebraska, he was almost the 04 version of Adrian Peterson. Not quite, about 85%. And the bad news for Texas A&M, Gary, this guy, he opens up the entire passing game, play action pass. Another week off with the bye week that you mentioned at the start. For A&M, the 3rd opponent that they played coming off a bye week, and that's really not good when you're talking about one of the top players in all of college football.
And with the wind blowing today, Peterson may see that football more than ever. For A&M, can they stop him? One question. They came in ranked in the top 20, 17 returning starters, lots of injuries, decimated, more pressure than ever on their QB.
Yeah, it's been ridiculous what's been going on around Reggie McNeil. He is one of only 3 offensive players to play in every single game this year for the Aggies. They've had all of their top receivers in and out of the lineup. Courtney Lewis, their top tailback, has been in and out of the lineup. But if they're going to get it done, they need 1 win out of the next 2, including Oklahoma and Texas. Very difficult opponents to get into a bowl game for Reggie's senior year. If they're going to do it, it's going to be because of Reggie McNeil putting all of the weight. The coach is talking about the weight on his shoulders. He can take it. He's a very competitive young man.
Well, there's no question coming into this game, A&M is a severe underdog. But listen, they've got a lot of pride. They have always been, in this contest, a very tough team to beat. Today, they'll see whether or not their defense, which has struggled so much, can be kept off the field, and their offense stay with it. Oklahoma, the Sooners, in front of 82,000 plus, take the field. When we come back to kickoff, Texas A&M, Oklahoma.
And you got to get as many people up there to stop that kind of run as you can and still fit onto the pass.
Texas A&M deferred. They'll kick it. Gary?
All right, Oklahoma is ready to receive, and that wind will be blowing right to left. Bob Stoops deciding the wind, though, down on the field more swirling than it is a factor. So he's willing to take the football here first and try and get that offense on the board. Great record, 7 seasons here for the Sooners. We are ready to go. Let's see how the wind affects this. Well, they're going to be a line drive kick. Won't affect it at all. At the 10, Alan Patrick. Patrick brings it up to the 30. Good return. That's the first return he has had all year. Let's meet the quarterback as the Oklahoma Sooners will be taking the field. He started game 2, and he has been the starting quarterback since. There are the numbers that he has put up. For Bomar, will he pass today, even though that hasn't been what he's done all season? You watch a little wrinkle and a smile here when we asked him about it.
That's possible. I mean, we've worked on it all week, but I'm not going to say, because honestly, I don't know,
What do you think, Ed?
Yeah, against the 116th ranked pass defense, I think he's going to let it fly a few times.
Peterson will come out of the backfield. He'll be keyed on by the linebackers, and this is the big test for Texas A&M. Their defense is absolutely devastated. Peterson gets up. Chris Harrington took him down, and you see Peterson is fired up here in this game. This A&M defense wounded by a ton of injuries over the entire season, even more so here this weekend.
It's almost unbelievable, some of the guys who've been out. And you add the guys that were going through the season that have gone out. And now today, after last week against Texas Tech, Jackson Appel, who is their leader, he's back home in College Station with broken ribs. Justin Warren back home with a separated shoulder. And John Jolly, their best interior defensive lineman, got a bum ankle, and we don't know how much we're going to see him today.
Second down and 11 out of the shotgun. Pretty good rush put on. Good coverage downfield, and that'll just be lobbed onto the bench. I'll tell you one thing that's happened here early, and it was important for A&M. Their defense for the first 2 plays stands up, and they need that early. Let's take a look. The Crestor starting lineups. For the Sooners, we're going to get a look at Adrian Peterson running the football a lot today. Keep an eye on Malcolm Kelly, a very fine young receiver, who's going to be a big college star. And when we look at this group, Cooper's going to get a start at center. First start there. Will that impact the game on the snap? We're going to find out. Jones in the backfield now. Kewan Jones, Iglesias. They've got 5 receivers, including that back who's in the slot on the near side. Bomar, big rush, dumps it off. He read that one perfectly up to the 30, up to the 40-yard line, and that's going to be to the 45 and a first down. Jones, the senior, on the reception, and a 16-yard gain.
And Chris Chester, who's in there playing at the right guard spot, is going to do a really nice job getting out into the screen. A good call by Chuck Long. The wind, you said it's swirling. Right now, it is in the face of Oklahoma. So Long deciding to go with a little screen pass. And it was Chester, who's just back from a knee injury. He missed 4 ball games. Was going to play center, broke his hand. You already mentioned Cooper's in there at center, the true freshman, but Chester, the best athlete, a former tight end, does a nice job in the open field.
Jones stays in the backfield. Beaumont rolling. He put a great fake on. Wide open. He'll get a first down, taking it down to the 30 and carries it over the 25-yard line. Melvin Bullitt on the hit. A 32-yard gain for the quarterback.
You know, when the Oklahoma coaches decided to make the change from Paul Thompson to Bomar, a lot of people said, well, you're not as getting as athletic a guy. And I think a lot of people misrepresent what type of quarterback Bomar is. He's going to turn into a fine pocket passer, but he is a lot better athlete than I think coming out of high school a lot of people gave credit. And Carl Torbush, when we talked to him the other day, said, this guy is so much better running the ball than people think, and we're very concerned about that.
Peterson was in the backfield. They flare it out to the flats, and that's going to be down to the 10-yard line. Iglesias, who's making his 3rd start, He is a freshman, a 14-yard gain, and the Oklahoma Sooners are moving the football. Let's take a look defensively, and these guys are really going to be tested. You're going to have a big game from Michael Bennett today, especially holding on the corners. The linebackers, again, injuries here. Foliaki is back in the lineup. First time he's been in from an injury. The defensive backs, they have given up the second most yardage in all of Division I football. They may have to be moving up to make tackles on the run here today. Peterson and Jones in the backfield. Bomar handing that one off, and that's going to be a touchdown. Peterson in. Chris Mesmer on the block, a 10-yard touchdown run.
Well, this is the gun-run formation that has become all the rage in college football. A lot of times you would figure Peterson is going to stay to the right on that run, but as he takes the handoff from Bomar, cuts back, and you mentioned Mesner, a lot of times that backside defensive end will be unblocked. Mesner blocks out, and that's a huge hole that opens up over pursuit to the left by the defense. 9th touchdown, all rushing for Peterson. The extra point kick is up, and it is good. Garrett Hartley putting that one through, and this is what A&M feared most. A Sooner offense that would get on the board early. It took 70 yards and a minute 49 to get there.
Tuesday, November 22nd, only on ABC.
Adrian Peterson touchdown. Let's take a look at the drive summary presented by Drive Insurance from Progressive.
What a nice play. This is the old counter tray that the Washington Redskins used to run. Very quick drive that was finished by the touchdown run of Adrian Peterson. And we talked about Mesner, who's going to pull around, but watch the block of Davin Joseph, the left tackle. Just buries the defensive end Bennett down inside. Bennett, kind of an undersized guy, about 250 pounds, and Davin Joseph decidedly not undersized at 6'6", 312 pounds.
20-year-old Adrian Peterson, he could have a very big day today. Hartley getting ready to kick it off. Jason Carter and Courtney Lewis will be back at the 5-yard line. Now the wind, we think, is in the face of the kicker,
yeah.
But on the top of the stadium it's blowing right to left, but down on the field it's very hard to tell. It's swirling, and in fact right now that wind may very well be in the kicker's favor on the field. It just goes back and forth. Going to put that one up in the air, and you can see even into a strong wind that gets all the way back to the 5-yard line. Carter trying to find a little room, will not get back to the 20. Good coverage by the Sooners. So now we'll see Texas A&M try and get their offense going with one of the college game's great quarterbacks, Reggie McNeil. It has been a very tough season for him. You see the yardage he has put up, and he also leads the team in rushing.
Way too much pressure put on this young man this year. And talking to him yesterday, you could see the signs of it. He's lost about 10 pounds of body weight. He's played so hard, and if you look at his numbers, he's having a great year. And today will become the Texas A&M all-time leading career yardage in passing yardage. So he's had a great year. It's been very difficult with injuries.
They may try and put it in the air early. They've got 5 receivers, nobody in that backfield with him. Reggie McNeil, who can throw the football and run when he doesn't find anybody open. That's going to be incomplete, and he had a man open up at the 45-yard line. That was Kerry Franks, a speedster. Take a look at the Crestor starting lineups here today. Again, Bennett at that tight end, and Jason Carter, important receivers. Lewis, look for him to do some running out of the backfield. And the offensive line, can they hold up today? They've had their problems. We'll see whether or not, especially Cody Wallace in that middle, can shut down these linebackers of the Sooners who can charge. Lewis will be in the backfield as they split 3 receivers to the right. McNeil on the handoff and a bad one, and it'll be back to the 15-yard line. You saw the ball fumbled right there. Carl Pendleton, who is a sophomore, has started the last 4 games for the Sooners, put the hit on. Defensively, the Oklahoma Sooners second best in the nation against the rush. That means these guys a lot of tackles. Every single one of these interior people will be involved today in shutting it down. Look for Ingram in the back and Alexander Latimer. Tremendous linebacker pressure and interceptions. You throw that ball out there in that secondary, you'll cough it up, and McNeil knows that. A 3rd down and 12. They split 3 to the wide right side and 2 to the near side. Play clock running down, just gets it off, slanted over the middle to the 25-yard line and up to the 27. That's Bennett, and a fumble, and it's carried to the, it's going to be down. The run will not count here, but the recovery will. Bennett made the catch. DJ Wolf put the hit on the cornerback after the 8-yard gain, and the ball will be brought back here to where the fumble occurred.
We've been talking about A&M's.
They're not going to count the fumble. They said the ball was down.
Their struggles in their secondary. But Oklahoma, if there's one place you're going to be able to attack Oklahoma defensively, is in their secondary. Boy, that looks like a fumble to me. It did not look like the knee was down when that ball came out.
So a break right there for A&M, even though they've got a punt here. That kick will be put up into the wind. Jones is back on the hop. And he'll take it at the 30-yard line, maybe up to the 32, where he's brought down. 46-yard kick and a 3-yard return. Obviously for A&M, a lot better field position for their defense than if that fumble had been counted as a fumble.
Boy, this really looks like Bennett, the tight end, loses this ball. Well, you know, you can't see from that angle if his knee's down, and it's going to be awfully close. And remember, it has to be indisputable video evidence to overturn the call, and I'm not so sure that we would have been able to tell. Maybe this angle give us a little better look. Nah, you still can't tell, so they wouldn't have been able to overturn it anyway.
Peterson, the option. Bomar will carry it, and he'll bring it up for a 3-yard gain as he comes up to the 36-yard line. Bomar will carry 8 to 10 times a game. They prefer that he not. Talking to Peterson, you see, or whoever else happens to be in the backfield on that option play. They'd rather he kick it out when he has the opportunity.
Yeah, it was funny you asked Coach Stoops the other day on the phone. Well, because they look so much different. When Adrian's not in the game, when he's in the game, they kind of do more of this gun run, although he's in the game here. He said, you said, what would you like to look like? He goes, a whole lot like last year.
That's a very balanced attack. Bomar out of the shotgun. That'll be completed and out of bounds at the 39-yard line. J.D. Runnels, a senior, running out of the backfield as a receiver. Michael Bennett after a 4-yard gain on the hit.
This senior year for J.D. Runnels. Remember, Adrian Peterson was hurt all during the spring. He's been banged up a bunch during the fall. And J.D. Runnels, who actually played tight end and wide receiver in high school, has become so much more involved in the passing game. He's a great blocker. This guy is an NFL caliber blocker. But I think his value has gone up as a senior in the NFL's eyes because of how much he can move around in the passing game.
He's been alive in that department. 3 receivers to the near side. Bomar back. Pretty good protection on the outbound, and it's caught. And that will take it down into A&M territory. And Glaciers again, a 14-yard pass reception before Devin Gregg got to him.
Boy, this is no easy throw. I don't care if the wind's in your face, in your back. There is a wind swirling. This is a layered route. There's 2 outcuts to the same side. So when Bomar goes to throw this ball to Mobley, he's got to sail it over the top of the defender who's defending the outcut to the inside. That's a very difficult throw.
Bomar has been effective 52% of the time in passing. Again, going deep down at the 15. That's going to be caught inside the 10-yard line and down to the 5. Malcolm Kelly, who's become his favorite target, is a freshman, a true freshman, who had 8 receptions against Nebraska in the last game. That one's good for 42 yards.
Watch the post route. The defender, Marquise Carpenter, allows him to get inside, and there's no safety help. The safeties are down because they have to be so worried about Adrian Peterson. So they're down around the line of scrimmage, and Carpenter needs to know, I don't have inside help. But you mentioned at the outset, Malcolm Kelly is a star on the rise.
This going for the touchdown near side, open and in. Make it 2. Adrian Peterson, a 6-yard touchdown run.
Bob Stoops said he wants his offense to look a whole lot more like last year, and it's starting to. A little shocked that we haven't seen the eye run as much with Peterson in there. The one thing with the injuries that he's had in this spring ball, he didn't get a whole lot of time in this new wrinkle in their offense, and had to work on his patience in that game.
Hartley puts that one up, and it is good. So the 2 chances they've had, Peterson has concluded the drives with touchdowns, and they take the 14-0 lead. And Oklahoma, and for them, A beautiful start. Peterson now's got 10 touchdowns on the season, 2 of them coming in this game. And it looks like he is very close to that 95% mark where he hoped to be after a week off. You see, it only took 5 plays, 68 yards, a minute 32 to get there. First drive, a minute 49, 6 plays, 70 yards. A&M's in trouble.
And you start to see what the balance Adrian Peterson brings, because the safeties just they have to be around the line of scrimmage. And we saw that long completion to Kelly. It's because they don't have any safeties deep, and you can't blame them.
Now there, the wind has an impact as that ball is taken up to, well, not up very far, actually. They got it at the 28-yard line. Mertellus Bennett. The wind did hold that one up. Now A&M's got to reach down. Keep in mind, defensively, they are missing 2 of their top tacklers. One is a linebacker, one who works in the secondary, and they've got an injured player, Jolly, out there trying to play through an injury.
And the pressure that's been on this offense, it's not like they've been free of injuries. Just about every veteran specialist. They had some injuries early in the offensive line, but late in the year, it was all Chad Schrader's out, Irvin is out, all of these guys, and they just have not been in sync offensively, and they have no room for error.
Reggie McNeil gets the one-man rush on the far side, just dumps that one downfield, and that's going to be incomplete all the way up to the 35-yard line. Looks like he wanted to run that, but he got contained. Good job on that end position by IU. Let's get out of Vince Welch. Vince.
Well, Gary, freshman defensive back for Texas A&M, Devin Gregg, told us yesterday that the team has had a tendency, after a couple of plays have gone against them, to maybe hang their head a little bit. They want to make sure that doesn't happen today. But as the A&M Aggies came off the field after that last possession, there were some heads hanging, and the upperclassmen were screaming at the younger players to get their heads up. The game's not over. Play the game.
Obviously that's what they want to try and do here, but they need some offense. They try the flanker around from the far side, 40-yard line, going to get it down the side to midfield. Big play to get the first down. That is Jason Carter who runs it before Reggie Smith can get him. It's a 23-yard gain.
Well, whenever these two teams play each other, watch the backside in. Thibodeau, he does a really nice job. He stays as deep as the ball and makes it cut back inside. These two guys, they've got to make the play. Thibodeau did his job. Whenever you play against A&M, you know that you're going to get some reverse passes, things like that, fakes in the kicking game. Thibodeau does his job. The pursuit coming from the other side needs to finish it off.
They get the first down and they move into Oklahoma territory. McNeil will work out of the shotgun. They've not given him a chance to run. He wants the quick in too hard, and that will be incomplete. Just coming across the middle on that play, McNeil overgunned Daquan Mobley. Mobley has had 16 receptions on the season. He's taken some pretty good pressure early in this game.
And as we see Mobley run off the field of one of the veteran receivers, Reggie McNeil's roommate, who missed some time, but it's almost unbelievable what they've had to go through for Texas A&M, and you feel bad for a guy like Reggie McNeil. Worked so hard during the offseason to heal an injured shoulder that he actually got against last year against Oklahoma. Just not paying off.
He's had a good passing season at 55%, 14 touchdowns. The lob in the middle, double coverage, intercepted back at the 18-yard line as Reggie Smith didn't even have to move. And for McNeil, that is the 9th interception and the second made by Smith on the defensive end.
Well, the one thing that Brent Venables, the defensive coordinator, has been battling all year with this young secondary, a bunch of true freshmen and sophomores in there playing, Smith is a true freshman, is just knowing where the deep help has to come from. Smith, a safety, all of these safeties have had times 2 weeks ago against Nebraska, against Baylor, letting guys go behind them. That time Smith, with the off week, that's what they worked on. Just know the structure of the defense and where you need to be, and Reggie just lofted that one up there.
McNeil last year threw just 4 interceptions all year. 4 all year. That is the 9th this season. Oklahoma gets the football back to the 20, and that'll be taken up to the 23 by Adrian Peterson, who's well underway for a 100-yard game. Tonight, ESPN has the latest edition of the SEC's oldest rivalry, the Auburn Tigers and the Georgia Bulldogs college football primetime, presented by Polaroid. ESPN has it tonight, 7:45 Eastern. Number 15 and number 9.
Chris Chester, who's playing right guard, who hasn't played much, is really playing well, Gary. He's every time they run the ball, he's right at the point of attack, moving people.
Jones is in the backfield on the carry, and will take that one up to about the 28-yard line. Johnny Jolly on the hit, 6-yard gain, and we'll check in with John Saunders. John.
Gary, the Taco Bell update. Ohio State already down to Northwestern 7-0, but Troy Smith, the keeper, bangs his way just over the goal line for the touchdown, and it's tied up at 7 apiece. Ohio State still holding out hopes they can get a share of the Big Ten championship.
All right, John, a lot of teams looking for bowl positioning, obviously. A 3rd down and 1 here. And looks like that'll be enough right up to the 31-yard line by Peterson, a 2-yard gain. For Oklahoma, if they can continue on in this season, finish up sweeping the table, they still have a chance at the Cotton Bowl, which is a $3 million bowl game. And that's the one they're kind of shooting for on an outside chance.
And you cannot discount. Listen, a bowl game's great. You get to go, you're on national TV. You get 16 practices to get ready for a bowl game. You get 15 practices in spring ball. So it's more practices than spring, and for a young team, especially defensive like Oklahoma, that's huge.
Omar gets the completion. It'll be shy of the 1st down. Lindy Holmes on the reception, an 8-yard gain.
You know, they've known how tough Adrian Peterson is since he came onto campus last summer. But last year against Texas A&M, he left everybody's mouth wide open. He separated his left shoulder, came back into the game later, and on the drive that won the game, there was a 3rd and 3 that he had to bang off 3 or 4 guys with a separated shoulder. And Chuck Long said if there was any doubt how tough this young man was, it was answered against A&M last year.
Just 2nd-year player, 2,500 yards already, and that's where he likes to run from. They will back him up 5, 6, 8 yards, and it's like a train that gets going. And it's like a train when you try and bring him down. He gains 6 right there.
They actually have to watch his depth in the I formation. 6 to 8 yards is where you typically like a guy to line up. He is so fast to the point of attack, though. He starts to sneak back. He wants that momentum going forward. And sometimes it throws off the quarterback a little bit.
25 yards so far in this one, averaging 5 per rush. And he's going to up that the way he started. He's got the 2 touchdowns. He comes in averaging 78 yards a game and 4.5 a carry. Bomar, good protection going down the near sideline. Some bumping. It's caught inside the 20-yard line, close to the 15 by Malcolm Kelly. And Bomar got the reception, getting hit as he let it go. And this, I'm telling you, remember the name Malcolm Kelly, because for the next few years, if he stays in college, you're going to hear a lot about him.
And Bomar takes a shot on his throwing hand. Typically, looked like it was up on the wrist, so he should be okay. As long as those fingers, sometimes those fingers get caught. He got hit right on the top of the hand. He'll have a sore one tomorrow. But Malcolm Kelly, good job position. You couldn't have defended that any better. I mean, Ronald Jones is right there, but a little bit of an underthrow, which is the right throw in that situation by Bomar.
Kelly now with 18 receptions on the year. Bomar back near side. Kelly up. Incomplete. But boy, does he have a presence about staying on the football with his eyes and his hands.
Well, they started to have an idea about Kelly. You know, the NCAA changed the rule that kids can come in the midsummer and go to the 2nd summer session as freshmen. And so they get to come in and go through all the passing drills with the players. And they saw this young man and said, wow, he's just got a lot of ability, not a lot of polish running his routes. Then he fought some injuries through camp. And Chuck Long was saying the other day that he's finally starting to get the confidence. And these are 2 guys. Remember, Bomar's a redshirt freshman, Kelly a true freshman. They got a long way to go together.
Travis Wilson's their leading receiver, but he won't be for long. Bomar's on the carry to the 5. Touchdown! '15-yard rushing touchdown for Bomar, the 4th rushing TD of the year for the quarterback.
Exact same structure as they'd run 2 touchdowns ago. The right guard Mesner is going to pull, and watch the block that he gets. This fakes, so he's running the exact same area that Peterson ran on his first touchdown, but they get Jones going one way, back the other. That gun run, it's all the rage now, and it's just so difficult. It's kind of like the single wing to know where the ball is.
Extra point is again up, and it is good. And the nightmare that Texas A&M hoped would not happen is happening. Every time Oklahoma gets the football, they are scoring.
This is your
averaging 26 points a game. They've already got 21 in the first quarter.
You know, one of the questions coming into this year was the offensive line for Oklahoma, and they kind of bounced some guys around. Now we see Chris Chester in there instead of J.D. Quinn. But they have gotten so much better, and I think they really solidified it last week against, or 2 weeks ago against Nebraska. Nebraska scored 14 quick points in that second half, a game that we did. And Oklahoma went on a 12-play, 85-yard drive. That was really the clinching drive of the game. And Bob Stoops coming in, knew they'd have some questions at quarterback, who to figure out, but the offensive line has really solidified and found an identity.
They are averaging, Oklahoma, 11.5 yards play. Texas A&M will get it back, but it'll be at the 20-yard line as that one goes out of the end zone. And now the question on the far sideline for A&M, how do we get this offense going and try and sustain something here to get us back into the game and keep that defense off the field?
Coach Franchione, who's tied in at all times with Les Canning, his offensive coordinator, helps make all the play calls. And right now, they just need to pretend it's 0-0.
Yeah.
You know, you can't get out of sorts. Your guys have been so much in and out of the lineup, they may not know where they're lining up. Just stick to what you have.
It'll be the first down and 10. Oklahoma defense right there. Surging ahead for a couple of yards is Javorsky Lane. This is a freshman who has started the last 3 games, number 11, working at tailback.
And he's one of the young guys because Courtney Lewis went out with another ankle injury. Of course, Lewis suffered a couple of ankle injuries in 2004. And like all true freshmen, the one thing that he struggled with, among other things like pass blocking, is ball security. He had a fumble first drive out of the gate in the second half last week against Texas Tech, and that really opened the door for the Red Raiders' explosive offense to take over.
They put Courtney Lewis out to the right side. Reggie McNeil naked in the backfield. Over the middle, that'll be completed to the 30-yard line, close to a first down. Martellus Bennett on the reception for 9 yards. You want to see how tough a season it's been for a great quarterback, Reggie McNeil. Listen and look as we talk with him.
It's been stressful, but it's been stressful, but at the same time it's been kind of fun.
We run that not to disparage him, but just that's how tough it's been.
And you know, when we asked him, we said, you know, has this season been stressful? He wanted to answer the right way, the team guy, and he's now the all-time leading passer at A&M, and he wants to do everything properly. But boy, it has not been fun for him, Gary. He's put the weight of the world on his shoulders, and they just haven't had the people around him to get it done.
No, people have intimated that maybe he's had a bad season. The fact of the matter is his numbers are not bad at all. In fact, their overall offensive numbers aren't that bad. But they just have had to battle every game from behind as they are in this one.
Yeah, they're one of only a few offenses in the entire country that average over 200 yards rushing and passing. He has a chance to become the first quarterback since 1956 at A&M to lead the team in both passing and rushing. So he's had a good year. Just the defense is struggling, and the bodies around him have just been different every single play.
1st and 10, they decide on a handoff on an option where he could have gone outside with it. Courtney Lewis, who was a freshman All-American, number 25, gains 4 on that. That's been a problem too. Courtney Lewis has not had the kind of year they hoped in year 2.
And he is an absolute difference maker when he's healthy. He struggled with ankles last year. Probably should have sat out, kind of like Adrian Peterson did this season, sat out a couple of games, but just fought through it and was never quite the same. He had 1,000 yards the year before that, and this year again, battling that ankle and just cannot get, he's got a burst, he just doesn't have it with that ankle.
2nd down and 6, 2 receivers to the near side. McNeil will throw on a good throw off balance, and that will take it to Oklahoma territory and a first down. Boone Stutz, who is a tight end, got 12 yards on that reception.
He's ruining his slugging percentage, Gary. Stutz came into the game with 1 reception for 1 touchdown. Nice boot action. Thibodeau again doing a really nice job. They coached them up this week. We were out there at practice on Thursday, and those defensive ends, boy, Bob Stoops and Venables, the defense coordinator, yelling, stay home, but McNeil does a nice job and Stutz comes free.
Good job by Stutz as they get the first down at 10, Oklahoma territory. With the ball at the 41-yard line. A lot of movement in the line. No flags. McNeil fakes looking. He'll run. Trying to get outside. Taken down from behind for a loss. Kelvin Thibodeau got into the backfield and took him down. Let's go to John Saunders.
Well, Gary, the old ball coach against his former team, South Carolina facing Florida. Chris Leak is picked off by Chris Tucker. And this looks like a rush hour as he takes it 41 yards deep into Florida territory. I mean, they can't tackle this guy. Sets up a touchdown. South Carolina's up 7-0. There.
Like those kind of runs if you're on the offensive end of it. The defense of Oklahoma rising to the occasion here. Second down and 13 now. Reggie McNeil, there'll be a flag. The defense of Oklahoma last week had 9 sacks 2 weeks ago against Nebraska. They had the off week last week.
Snap, false start, 71 offense. 5 yards, second down.
Tackle on the move before the ball was.
Yeah, Yemi Babaloa, a good-looking young offensive lineman. Very tough and physical. They've had to get him settled down a little bit. He's got that nasty streak in him.
We should mention McNeil already has set a new school mark for A&M. 6,851. 6,851 passing yards in his career. Well, he gets that mark done. He needed only 13 in this game to get there. Reggie McNeil here in a second down and 18. Flags go down again. The pass is going to be caught or intercepted. Nope, they didn't get it. Neither one. Had 3-man coverage down there as Clint Ingram was on Martellus Bennett, the 6'7", 248-pound tight end.
Is that a pencil sticking out from underneath his hat?
Offsides defense number 46. 5 yards, repeat second down.
Obviously, John Bible is a carpenter for his day job. My dad was a carpenter. I just always remember the pencil stuck in his hat. That's looks like a pencil with the big black eraser on the end.
It does, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Whole new mic system. We'll be wearing those shortly upstairs here. Ended up being a pretty decent day here. There was rain this morning. A lot of the clouds have moved out. We've got a good deal of sun. And again, that wind while blowing does not appear to have a big impact on many of the plays so far in the field. Second down and 13. McNeil, again, flags go down. He's got a free play here, and it's intercepted at the 30-yard line. We'll have to wait on the flag. Zach Latimer moved in and hauled it down, but that may come back on a flag.
Well, Reggie's going to get this ball back, but he needs to settle in. This is the second time, and you cannot overstate how difficult this season has been and how well he has to play in these last 2 games against Oklahoma and Texas to try to get a win out of one of those games for a bowl game. But right now, he's kind of squeezing the ball a little bit. He looks a little too tense. He needs to just relax and try to have I know it's difficult, but try to have a little bit of fun.
Yeah, he has only 23 interceptions for his entire career, and we noted last year a new school record for the fewest as there were only 4, but he's up to 9 now with 1 here. Let's take a look, see if we can see this penalty.
Well, they're probably discussing if somebody from Texas A&M moved, but clearly I didn't see anybody in that.
Defense was offside.
Yeah.
After the interception and during the run back, there was a 5-yard face mask on the offense. So the penalty's canceled.
So there you go.
Yeah, that's what they were discussing.
Here's the face mask call.
And it's Latimer who's starting to come into his own as the middle linebacker. Yep.
Gotcha.
Yeah, he sure did.
A little too much metal in the hands right there.
Those offensive guys aren't the best tacklers. They just have to go try to make it happen.
3 minutes to go here in the first quarter as Oklahoma looking to continue their hot streak here at the end of the season. They've got the early lead. A&M second down and 13, avoiding the turnover because of the penalty. McNeil standing back at midfield here as he takes it out of the gun. Under rush, completes at 30. No, incomplete.
Yeah.
Boy, when you're struggling, Daquan Mobley knows those are the ones you got to haul in.
And Mobley missing a little bit of time in the middle of the year, but this ball cannot be thrown more on time and in the right place. And Mobley lets this ball get to his body. Doesn't get it out with his hands, and he's got to help his roommate out here. This is a first down, and you can't catch it with your face mask last time I checked.
He is their 3rd leading receiver as far as number of catches is concerned. 3rd down and 13. They are 36% converting third downs and were 1 for 10 against Texas Tech last week. McNeil, he's going for the bomb down the right side, man open, incomplete. One step away from a TD. Kerry Franks, who has 4.4 speed, but even he could not get under that one.
And A&M knew that they were going to be able to take a couple of shots. We saw earlier Reggie laid one up and Reggie Smith made the tackle. This time Kerry Franks goes right by Reggie Smith. You can see it there on the top side of your screen. And Smith, that's not where you want your strong safety. Strong safeties are more run guys. And Smith goes all the way to the outside because of the motion. So you have a strong safety on a fast receiver to the outside, and you ran right by him.
Justin Brantley will come in to do the kicking. And Brantley will be back at his own 45-yard line. And that will go through the end zone. And Brantley, who averages about 43 a kick. Now Oklahoma will go back on offense. So far in this game, it has been all offense, and it's been them. Bomar running the quarterback, taking that one down on the keeper in the great field position. The touchdown, Malcolm Kelly rather on the catch that would set up another touchdown. Peterson twice has run him in. Kelly, a tremendous catch right there. And remember, this is a first-year player. I mean, they are genuinely excited because they have a core of young players here at Oklahoma who look like they are going to set the stage for this program.
I wouldn't want to play these guys next year. I mean, they're playing great right now, but the freshmen and sophomores making contributions.
Fumble, did they get it back? I think so, yes. It's going to be Texas A&M with the football. Bryce Reed, number 35, comes up with the football on the first play of that drive, and great field position as Adrian Peterson coughed it up.
You know, we were talking earlier about the depth of the eye and how the quarterback has to find him to get there. He never got the ball to Peterson. Bomar put it on his hip. You've got to get it right into his stomach. And Bomar hasn't worked with Peterson a ton because of the injuries, misjudges where the exchange point's going to be, and comes up a little short.
That is the 26th fumble for Oklahoma this year, and the 11th that they have lost to the opposition. Well, if A&M needed a break, here it is. They are in the red zone, 32 out of 35 in the red zone for Texas A&M this year, with 23 touchdowns in those 32 conversions. Straight ahead up the middle to about the 12-yard line, a gain of 3 on the carry. We'll see whether or not they want to run this thing as they bring in Chris Alexander to carry the football.
And the one thing when you're talking to Les Koenig, the offensive coordinator for A&M, that they've really been struggling. When your defense is struggling, as A&M's has, you have to go the length of the field a lot. They've been pretty good once they get down inside the 20. The problem is they've had to do 80, 85, 90-yard drives. Now, with a short field, they need to come away with 7.
Oklahoma's only stopped the team once in the red zone, the alley-oop end zone, touchdown, and A&M is on the board. Great throw right there. Martellus Bennett hauls it in. And they could not have had a bigger touchdown in this game to get that in the first quarter. That's a 12-yard reception, and Texas A&M's got 6. He took a little thump, I think, when he hit Mother Earth.
Yeah, he landed pretty hard. Bennett is a sensational talent. Another true freshman. We were just talking about Malcolm Kelly on the other side. Martellus Bennett, 6'7", came right in, and they can play him a couple of different places. At wide receiver, he's a great basketball player, so he's got good ball skills.
Pegram has come on to kick the extra point for A&M. That one is up, and he is 37 for 37 in that department. Texas A&M gets on it. Bennett, take a look in the end zone. Came down on the football, but held on to it, and it is 21-7.
Run into anybody, so it's totally legal. But this is a really nice job. You don't see this. You see this a lot with receivers that are near each other, but to get 2 guys near the line of scrimmage and to have a playmaker like Martellus Bennett. But you don't see those types of routes usually from a H-back type tight end and a tight end with his hand on the ground. Nice design.
That comes off the turnover, the fumble by Oklahoma, creating the opportunity. Adrian Peterson again, and he'll take it up to the 40-yard line. It'll be a 3-yard gain. For him to gain 3 yards, he has to run 15 yards to get there, because he, as we noted, he's starting so deep in that backfield. They've done a good job here making some tackles if they can keep him from turning the corner.
Mm-hmm. Well, he'll keep inching back and inching back. And J.D. Runnels, one of the top fullbacks in the entire country, when you have guys like that. They've been a lot in this run-gun formation. Well, all the success against Nebraska came from the eye. If you're going to run it, I think you need to just go ahead and put 28 directly behind the quarterback.
Saw the A&M players run into each other as they tried to move around there. Bomar, though, wanted to change it up at the line of scrimmage. He does, bouncing away to the 40-yard line, 45, trying to cut back the other way. Man, mighty tough to bring down. That is a 9-yard gain. Peterson. Talking about Peterson and where he lines up, Bob Stoops says we have to be careful of that.
He has a different gear than most people do, and our quarterbacks have to practice with him during the week. And when he's back there, I remember Jason White even a year ago used to have to really hump it to get the ball to him because he has that. He is so explosive when he takes off.
And that was exactly what happened on that fumble. When A&M got the ball back, he's just so deep and so fast that it's hard for a quarterback to figure out where the point is.
You saw Wilson in motion. Bomar's got the football, throwing it out into the flats. It is caught, and enough for the first down at the 40-yard line. Travis Wilson, the reception. We'll go to New York and John Saunders.
Gary, Ohio State had fallen down 7-0, but they've scored 3 straight touchdowns. This one on a block punt. Quinn Pitcock gets the block. A.J. Hawk picks it up and goes 9 yards for the touchdown. As the Buckeyes are now up 21-7. The score with plenty of time left for second. Gary.
All right, holding up their spot at number 8 in the nation. Here as the clock runs down, the flat pass to the 40, 30, and taken out of bounds, 28-yard line. Lindy Holmes, who's had a couple of receptions, a redshirt freshman. That one's good for a 12-yard gain. Bomar is putting the ball in the hands of his receivers here today.
He is so accurate right now. And earlier in the year, they would go entire halves without even calling a pass play. And of course, when Peterson got hurt, the offense was basically going nowhere. But Chuck Long and Bomar have worked so hard. And Bomar yesterday was talking about he just feels more comfortable. Things are not moving as fast. And right now, he's putting the ball exactly where he wants it every single time.
This may be the biggest passing game of his career as a starter this year. Up to the 20-yard line, down to the 10. Pay dirt directly ahead. Touchdown, Oklahoma. Alan Patrick, 28 yards.
Not bad for a guy who 3 weeks ago was a safety.
He's having his 18th carry of the year.
Yeah.
First touchdown, Patrick.
He got a little cocky here at the end, though. Finish the run first and then celebrate. He goes to stick this ball out, and the safety comes over and almost knocks him out of bounds at the 1. That would have been just a tad embarrassing had he not scored.
Follow the adage. Act like you've been there before.
No kidding.
Going for the extra point, Oklahoma. 4 touchdowns on the board now as the first quarter was coming to an end, and they put that one through. College football will return after this message and a word from our ABC stations. You're watching ABC Sports Championship Television from Oklahoma, where the Sooners have opened up with a 28-7 lead at the end of the first quarter. Beautiful campus here at Oklahoma with this tremendous football program that has won 7 national titles. They're looking to go to their 39th bowl game this year. They wouldn't mind if it ended up being the Cotton Bowl, and a big game day of festivities that go on around this beautiful stadium here in Oklahoma. Great to have you with us. ABC's coverage of college football in Soonerland. Gary Thorne along with Ed Cunningham. Vince Welch down on the field with us, and Oklahoma has scored in drives of 1:49, 1:32, 2:53, and 1:43.
What's their rush? Settle down, boys. Come on.
That's why time of possession sometimes can mean absolutely nothing in a game. You're scoring on just about, well, every possession except the one where they fumble. That kick, a line drive that'll end up going out of the end zone. So we'll start the second quarter at the 20-yard line. Texas A&M will have the football, and we'll check in with Vince Welch. Vince.
Well, guys, as Oklahoma's defense gets ready to come back out onto the field, we'll take a look at Rufus Alexander, the linebacker, the heart of this Oklahoma defense. But football wasn't even his sport of choice growing up. it was basketball. Alexander actually moved out of the family home in a difficult environment when he was in middle school. Moved in with a family of a Louisiana football coach named David Barham. And although basketball had always been Alexander's first love, Barham said, if you're going to live in our house, you're going to play football. And soon after, a football star was born. Oklahoma certainly is glad he made the switch.
Boy, you got that part right. On the carry, A&M will get it up to the 28-yard line. Jaworski Lane again on the carry. Zach Latimer moved in on the hit. Going to see, I think, a lot here today and in the future of Jaworski Lane. Obviously, they are very excited about his performance so far. I mean, just a freshman, 3 starts, and he's tough to bring down.
Yeah, they knew early in the year they were going to use him because during camp nobody could stand him up. He was running everybody over. He just needs to learn to wrap that ball in and hold it tight. Guys at this level hit just a little bit harder than they do in Lufkin, Texas.
He has carried the football more than anyone else, even more than McNeil. Does it again here and will get the first down on that carry as Clint Ingram, the senior linebacker, moved in after a 4-yard gain to put the hit on. And you see the talking going on. This is a rivalry that has had the Sooners with the advantage. They have won 13 and lost 10. They are 9-2 in games against A&M here in Oklahoma. But A&M has been a thorn in the side of the Sooners in some seasons where they have kind of put on a hurt late in the year.
Yeah, 3 years ago, Oklahoma went in with a #1 ranking, and some unknown freshman, Reggie McNeil, came in and threw 4 touchdown passes. And then, of course, there was the whitewash 7-7 nothing in there. But last year, they were down 2 touchdowns 3 different times in that ball game.
Oh, McNeil, was that ever a dangerous flip? Taken up to the 37-yard line, a 3-yard gain. You talk about throwing through some defensive hands. He did on that one, I'll tell you.
I think there's some offensive coaches from A&M who there's a heartbeat in their throat right now after this pitch. Doing everything, fighting for everything they've got. Pitches it right over the head of his offensive lineman. I believe that was his left tackle. Yeah, it sure was. That was Babalola that he had to pitch it over the top, and he's 6'4" and was standing straight up. Pretty good touch.
Actually got a gain out of that. It'll bring up a 2nd down and 7. Reggie McNeil out of the shotgun, hands off. That's where he has the option of keeping or not. A 4-yard gain to the 41-yard line as Curtis Lofton moved in and put the hit on. Jaworski Lane's going to get a lot of work out of that backfield. And right now, you know what A&M wants to do here, to try and keep this football on their side of the field, on their side offensively.
They have to try to shrink the clock somehow. Even though they're down 21 points, their defense has to have time to rest. Even though those drives have been short, it's been a lot of big plays they've had to chase down. They have no depth, none whatsoever, and they're all young, inexperienced guys, so they have to give them a blow.
3rd down and 3. 3 receivers near side. McNeil over the middle. That'll be incomplete. And good coverage. That was Rufus Alexander, who we were just talking about, who leads in about every defensive category. That is the 7th breakup of a pass he's had, most on the team.
Well, and this will go down on their little chart. Really nice job coming underneath Martellus Bennett. But these linebackers have a little competition every week about what type of plays they can make. Alexander leads them in tackles and tackles for loss. Ingram's the interception guy, but that was a really nice play on the ball by Alexander.
Here is Justin Brantley on to do the punting. Rankins will be back as Brantley averages 43 plus, gets that one way up in the air. Calls for a fair catch and will take it at the 11-yard line. A 48-yard kick. The Sooners will take over. They have the lead 28-7 over A&M.
Hello? Hello?
The 28-7 lead for Oklahoma. Let's take a look at our Pacific Life game summary. And these numbers do tell an honest tale as Mr. Peterson goes out there with a couple of touchdowns already.
A lot of that has come from the superb play of the freshman, Bomar, quarterback. He's going up against a secondary that's second to last in yards allowed in the NCAA, but don't take anything away. He's very accurate so far today.
They start deep in their own territory, but not for long. Out to the 25 and up to the 27-yard line. Peterson on the carry. And he's chatting with A&M's tacklers every time he gets up. A 15-yard gain for Peterson.
Well, he's battling the ankle injury, and Devin Gregg, a true freshman, grabs the ankle and holds on, but he's not trying to hurt him. That's the only way you can bring this young man down is don't tackle him high. Carl Torbush said all week long, we worked on going low, staying low, because if you tackle him high, he's going to drag you all over the field.
Last year set the all-time NCAA mark for a freshman in rushing. Peterson nowhere near that number this year because of the injury, but these last two games, as he's brought down by Jolly, he has looked better than ever. 1,925 yards last season for Peterson. Let's take a look at the athletic trivia question, and it is, what player leads the Big 12 in 100-yard rushing games this season? The Big 12 leader in 100-yard rushing games this season.
Can I give a hint?
That's not him.
It's not him. we try that every week.
That's right. Second down and 4. This will be for the first down, and Moore gets away to midfield and will be driven out of bounds at about the 45. And he is just on a rampage today, a 20-yard gain.
Well, you and I were getting ready for our first ball game of the year, which was actually Texas A&M Clemson. We were watching against TCU when Peterson went down with the right ankle sprain. He was okay. It was just a little tender. And then it was against Kansas State that he got the dreaded high ankle sprain. And he was just not the same for 4 ball games. Sat out against Baylor, so kind of had a bye week in there to help him get healthy. Came back against Nebraska. Said, what, about 85%. Now he's creeping into that 95 to 100 percentile range.
See, he's had 146 yards against Nebraska last week. Looking downfield, open at the 15. It is incomplete. Couldn't hang on to it. Lindy Holmes on the throw to Travis Wilson. Lindy Holmes, a running back at times and a slot man at others, this time gets to play quarterback.
And Lindy Holmes is just late on this throw. Another young receiver. He's got to throw it now. He just took a long time to get that ball in his hands because Wilson is wide open. And Brock Newton, who's having to play some safety now because Jackson Appel's got the broken ribs, was able to come back in and recover, because if that ball's thrown earlier, that's another touchdown.
That was close. Almost had one on the option play. That one up to the 40, 35. Spinning away is Jones. Kewan Jones gets a 16-yard gain. Well, Ranchotti talked about trick plays with us. He'd hoping he'd get the first chance. That time he had to defend against it.
You look for the right time to utilize a play like that, whether it's a fake in the kicking game or whatever it may be. I kind of think today Oklahoma's going to try to do their fake before we do our fake.
That's exactly what happened. It was so fun talking to him yesterday. Both of these schools, Oklahoma's 3 for 3 on fake kicks this year for first downs, and last year A&M ran 2 fake kicks, a field goal and a punt that resulted in touchdowns against Oklahoma.
Peterson trying to turn the corner will gain a couple of yards on that as he is driven out of bounds on the far side, trying to string him out and not let him get that turn upfield. Adrian Peterson, just 20 years old, 3-yard gain on that one. He's going to up his average here, which this season has been 78 yards a game, 62nd in the nation because of the injuries. Today, however, look out. That number is going to go up.
Well, and it's all about balance. You know, Bob Stoops, when you asked him, what do you want your offense to look like when Peterson's healthy? He said, a lot like last year. We can get in the I formation. We can run downhill, have play action off of that, run some screens. And when you're going against the defense like A&M, that is just severely, severely shorthanded, you're going to have numbers like that.
Again, they'll work the comeback to the near side. A little room in the middle. Not going to be enough for the first down, up to about the 23-yard line. That is Alan Patrick again on the carry. A 5-yard gain. So we've seen Peterson, Jones, Patrick, and the quarterback Bomar all running the football today for Oklahoma.
Yeah, and Jacob Gutierrez got in against Baylor and ran for 173 yards, but dislocated his elbow against Nebraska. They were wondering if he was going to play, but all of these guys have gotten their chance. Patrick came in over from safety because of the injuries that we've shown to Peterson, they had to scramble around and get some guys.
You see the balance Ed was talking about, rushing, passing, the amazing number, 336 yards already. There's 9:51 left to go in the first half. They're on a pace here for a 400-yard offensive first half. Oklahoma is going to use their timeout. Can A&M find a way to shut her down? College football on ABC Sports, brought to you by Dodge. You can take life as it comes, or you can grab life by the horns. IBM, become an on-demand business. IBM can help. And Aflac, to find your 2005 Aflac Holiday Duck, visit our website. Some of the beautiful ladies on hand here in Sooner territory, and a lot to cheer about with a 28-7 lead. Oklahoma averaging this year 319 yards a game. They already have 341 yards with 9:41 to go in the first half.
And if Chuck Long were a nice guy, he'd just run the ball here. But he's not paid to be a nice guy. If I were Texas A&M, I'd be very careful. You've got Malcolm Kelly down in the bottom here. Be very careful of a play-action pass to this big, tall receiver.
3rd down and 3. Trying to get the sweep and thrown for a loss back at the 30-yard line. And that is Ronald Green, who moved in and put the hit on. Green, a senior, out of that linebacker position. He got in there in a hurry.
Nice job coming underneath all of the blocks. Bomar may, because of the crashing on that side, may have kept that ball and picked up some more yardage. But Green, all of the guys, Manning, McDaniel, all having to step up because another guy missing for A&M, Justin Warren, their middle linebacker, who, oh, by the way, happens to lead the Big 12 in tackles, is not here today.
A 46-yard field goal attempt by Garrett Hartley. That kick is up, and it is no good. He has missed now 3 of the last 4 that he has attempted on the season, and unable to put that one through. Again, with the wind swirling it, I'm not sure if he was kicking into it or not, but it was not at his back.
Well, he didn't get a good hit on the ball. He hit it fat. He scooped it. This ball got up in the air way too quick. And that might be a residual effect from the block that he had against Nebraska. He had a ball that was kicking into the wind that he drove a little bit, and that time maybe trying to get just a little too much air on it.
13 out of 21 on the season field goal wise. So Texas A&M does not surrender a point on that drive. That is the first time their D has done that. Oklahoma's had a turnover that the A&M scored on, and that will be shy of the line of scrimmage, probably about a yard loss on that one. Jason Carter, Clint Ingram got to him. Our Aflac trivia question today: the player that leads the Big 12 in 100-yard plus rushing games this season? The answer is...
Well, the problem is this is a league with some of the best running quarterbacks in all of college football. So you would have thought a running back. A couple of guys have been dinged up, especially Selvin Young down in Texas. So it's actually Reggie McNeil.
Reggie McNeil out there trying to manufacture a drive here. 2nd down at 12. They scored after Oklahoma coughed the football up deep in Oklahoma territory. The touchdown pass. Now McNeil looking over the middle. Great read. It is incomplete because of the defensive effort at the 40. That is Lewis Baker. Baker was about 6 yards off the receiver, but he saw that coming and got there in time to hit him. Otherwise, that might have been caught.
Baker's a former linebacker who spent 2 years in the program trying to gain weight and just couldn't do it. So the coaches finally thought, you know, he's athletic enough. Let's let him try at safety. And he's been one of the young guys that's still trying to learn in that secondary for Oklahoma. They've got all the ability in the world, but the challenge for Brent Venables and his staff has been getting them to understand the concept of the defense.
McNeil 4 out of 12 for 43 yards today with a TD and an interception. The 3rd down conversions, which have not been favorable towards them last week or this week, there's a flag.
Someone on the right side of A&M's offense jumped. Now,
Babalula again, I believe, was moving.
But if the defender... See, it looked to me like the defender was in the neutral zone. If a defender head up or on either side of the gap jumps into the neutral zone, now he wasn't in the neutral zone, so that's the right call. If that linebacker, Zach Latimer, had broken the plane of the ball and been in the neutral zone, that would have been a penalty on Oklahoma.
So now they'll have a 3rd down and 17. Jamie Hightower, who is a backup quarterback, has come in as a receiver. Reggie McNeil, the quick tackle rather, for Babalua is in there. Babalua has had 3 penalties called against him. That's going to be incomplete, and there's another fine breakup, and there goes a flag on the near side.
Yeah, late flag. They're going to get, I believe, Zach Latimer for holding on the slot receiver.
Onion Agetcha made the nice play, and way away from him, the flag came down.
Bob Stoops is out on the numbers. Excuse me, Brent Venables.
22 on the defense. Ball is placed at the spot of the foul. First down.
Boy, where they threw that flag, it looked like they were calling Latimer, and it looked to me like Onion Agetcha couldn't have timed this any better.
He's had an outstanding couple of weeks working out of that cornerback position. See the 17 tackles, 9 of them that have been solo.
Take a nice slow look at this as the ball comes in. Boy, that I saw nothing that told me that Carter's body was changed, his route or anything. And the key is the right arm, the trail arm was dragging. That's what you teach a defensive back. Drag that arm. Don't put it on him or they'll call it. Boy, I don't like that call.
Big break right there for A&M up to the 40. That'll be carried where a smashing tackle is put on at the 46 by Courtney Lewis. His best run of the day, a 16-yard gain. Found a little room, may have caught Oklahoma's defense with their heads down a little bit after that flag was called against them. So A&M will move to midfield.
And as bad as this game has looked, Gary, because of that turnover by Oklahoma, you score here and you're down 14. I mean, you'd have to feel for A&M. I mean, Oklahoma's closing in on 400 yards of total offense in the first half, and to cut it to 14, you'd have to feel pretty good about that.
Reggie McNeil looking deep, has a man open at the 20, down to the 15, and inside the 10-yard line, Jaworski Lane. He sneaked his way to the far sideline out of the backfield, and a 42-yard gain.
How does a 265-pound man sneak anywhere, Gary?
Slowly, very slowly.
Yeah. Great fake by Reggie McNeil, and just holds it. You had actually two tailbacks in the backfield, and I think the formation may have confused Oklahoma. Both Lewis and Jaworski were back there, and when they split out, the linebackers lost the 265-pounder in the mix.
That is just his third reception of the season, and this is where A&M's offense this year has been at their best. When they get into that red zone.
Oh, come on, guys.
And
come
a flag.
You can't keep hurting yourself. That's Dominique Steamer.
First down.
You're already fighting uphill if you're Texas A&M with all the guys who've been injured. And right away, Steamer comes over to the sideline to get an earful, as he should. These guys need to settle in. You get first and goal from the 9. Do not go back.
So that will cost them 5 yards. The down will remain a first down and goal. And for that effort or lack thereof, Steamer will take a position along the sideline. And they will move out of the shotgun here with the two backs. Only one receiver split to the near side. McNeil still got it. And the linebackers reading him. He may have picked up a yard on that. Reggie McNeil, as we've said, can carry the football, and that's what he wanted to do there.
You know, you go back to the play before, and Dennis Franchione will not use the injuries as an excuse. He wouldn't even talk about them yesterday. He didn't even. I asked about Jackson Appel. He's like, guys, we have what we have, and we have to go compete. But you know, when you get yourself down there and you start to make some plays, the coaches, they can live with injuries and physical stuff, but it's the mental stuff that's just going to drive him crazy.
This will bring up a second down and goal. Ball back at the 14-yard line. 3 receivers near side, all set close, and that's why, as they'll get it up to the 5-yard line. They wanted to swamp the territory in the middle. Jason Carter on the reception. Coming up, second half of our college football doubleheader. Most of you are going to see number 1 USC take on Cal. Others, Kansas, Texas, Miami, Wake Forest, Georgia Tech, Virginia. That's coming up next here on ABC. Check the local listings for the game in your area.
Martellus Bennett is the guy that you better know where he is on this play. Right down here. He's the 6'7" tight end. Remember the last play, they got him into the corner of the end zone. I'd watch him here if I was Oklahoma.
Third down and goal, 5-yard line. Reggie McNeil back, looking to the end zone. Corner, touchdown! may have used Bennett that time as a decoy as Courtney Lewis gets the 5-yard TD. And just what we were talking about a minute ago, all of a sudden it's just a 2-touchdown differential.
Bennett's going to do just about the same route he does there, but it's Courtney Lewis that's going to just mirror him in front, and the safety Smith is just late getting over there. Here's Smith way back here. He's got to be over the top because Anya Nagacha's got to have contain and watch for anybody coming in the end zone. The safety was late getting there.
Courtney Lewis's first touchdown reception of the season. The extra point kick is up, and it is good. Pegram putting it through. So 71 yards on 7 plays. It took 212. It ended with Courtney's first reception TD of the year, and it's 28-14. Yeah.
Right now.
On the phone, 2 touchdown passes today and 16 on the season. And he's brought him back to a couple of TDs behind.
You know, earlier Vince Welch was saying down on the sideline, he had talked to a couple of the A&M guys, some of the younger guys, that, you know, something goes bad and they hang their heads. They're in this ball game. As crazy as it sounds, they're right there. And they need something from their defense, though, Gary. They have to get some type of stop.
They got the 1 fumble turnover from Oklahoma, took that in for a touchdown, and then a very fine drive there. Richie Bean is doing the kicking and boots that one in the back of the end zone, and there it's going to be down by Reggie Smith. Let's take a look at our Dodge defensive playbook.
You know, we've talked a lot about A&M struggles in the secondary, but Oklahoma also has some problems. I'm going to get you right here in Smith. They have the 2 receivers, 1, 2. He goes short, he goes long. The safety goes with him, and I'll get rid of that mess so you can see it. But they have to figure out who's got underneath and who's got the guy coming in the flat out there. And both of them got stuck in no man's land. Make a decision. The worst thing you can do in that situation with all of those bodies is not decide who you've got and run with them. And that time, Smith and Anya Nagacha just never made a decision on who they were going to pick up.
Red Beaumont quarterback, 9 of 11 for 161 yards so far. Peterson rushing the football over the 25, up near the 30. Before that carry, 76 yards on 13 carries for him. Peterson will add 9 to it there.
Well, A&M is trying to do what they were coached to do all week by Carl Torbush and tackle low. The problem is, I'm just not so sure there's a really good way to tackle a healthy Adrian Peterson. That's that low tackle that we've seen a couple of times, and that time what he's starting to figure out is, okay, if they're going to go low, I'm going to spin, pick up my legs, give them a dead leg occasionally so they're grabbing something where I don't have any weight on it, and he's just figured out what they're trying to do.
Danny Gore, you saw reach in, try and make that tackle and could not get there. It'll bring up a 2nd down and 1. Look, you can almost not see Peterson or the running back
so
in your
back.
screen. The flag goes down. They only need 1 for the first down. Turns the corner, gets it, but it will depend on the play. Nope, they take the flag off. Strong safety Melvin Bullitt was talking about having to play against Adrian Peterson, and how do you take him down?
We work on what we call as a roll tackle every week. It's where you wrap the player up around his legs and then roll. So, you know, with Adrian Peterson, if you get him going sideways, that's one thing you have to do. You have to roll tackle him.
And that's what they're going to try to do, is if you can get Adrian Peterson going at parallel line of scrimmage, then go and try to roll his body. But right now, he's just been going downhill.
Bomar back, under pressure, gets hit, throws it deep. It'll be incomplete. Pretty good rush put on right there by Bryce Reed, who's playing a strong game at defensive tackle. Reed gave him something to think about on that play.
Yeah, he's still, you can see he's kind of shaking that hand out too. Remember, he took the shot on the back of the hand earlier in the ball game. Good rush from the outside, and he couldn't step away. And that was just a good finish by Reed. Reed getting a lot more playing time because Johnny Jolly hurt his ankle last week, and he's kind of in and out of the lineup.
Without Justin Warren, their leading tackler, the linebacker who is injured and not here today. Jolly, as we said, playing injured. Appel injured, not here. Over the middle, completed at the 35, and a little falling forward effort to the 37-yard line. That is Paul Thompson, who is the backup quarterback, playing as a receiver, and a 6-yard gain.
And still remains the backup quarterback. And the coach is just deciding that Thompson, such a good athlete, it's ridiculous to have him standing on the sidelines.
Well, they get him out there, and obviously a chance for a trick play and an option throw if indeed they want to do that with Paul Thompson, who's had 11 completions on 26 chances. A 3rd down and 4. 33% third down conversions. Oklahoma this year, not good. They try it here. Bomar goes over the middle. It'll be caught, and the spot will decide whether or not that's going to be a first down. And down is the quarterback. Bomar's down.
Well, and he went down hard, Gary. He got rolled up on his left ankle.
Brett Bomar. Paul Thompson caught that. The backup quarterback, at least listed as such, and now he's on the sideline and warming up.
Well, and Bomar going down with, just check his left ankle. Oh, that does not look good. That was Red Bryant, who came over. He got cut blocked and landed right on the left leg of Bomar.
You want to hear 82,000 people go quiet in a heartbeat. That's what just happened here.
That's a shame. Young man's really coming into his own. Starting to feel more relaxed. And now Thompson's got to be on the sideline. We mentioned earlier the problems that Oklahoma's had at center. John Cooper, who's a true freshman, is in there snapping. And a bunch of guys, Chris Chester, Chris Bush, guys who could play center, have broken hands. Their snapping hands are broken. So it's either Cooper or they have to bring in a guard. So watch the quarterback center exchange when we come back.
And Rhett Bomar still down on the field, and that's a good sign that he's able to get up here, but not going to be staying in the game. Bomar incredibly is running. I can't believe I'm seeing that after he took that hit.
Well, he's a pretty tough guy. We met with him yesterday. And after this, I mean, it was grotesque. We thought that he may have broken his lower leg. But he got up on his own power. He's been jogging around, and he was the one who actually signaled for the timeout to see if he couldn't stay in the game.
Wow, pretty phenomenal. Paul Thompson will come in and take the snap out of the shotgun. Wants to carry, and he will go down at about the 43-yard line. So Thompson takes the snap. McDaniel on the hit.
Well, when you play wide receiver, you wear those tacky gloves. When you play quarterback, you can't be tacky. So the gloves have to come off to get ready to go in. So and then of course the armband. So you know when they say run number 7, they know what to run. And here comes Bomar back in. This is really impressive, Gary.
Hey, Vince, he never even went to the trainers, did he?
Guys, you're around football a lot, and when they bring players off the field who are injured, the first thing they do is take them to the bench and look at them. Bomar never even came to the bench. Never even came to the bench. He's ready. He was ready to go back in immediately.
On the handoff and a loss back to the 40-yard line. Jones on the carry, and Johnny Jolly, injured or not, leads this team and tackles for a loss, and he gets another one right there. Bomar wincing a bit as he takes a look down at that leg. Well, maybe wincing more at the loss.
Yeah, and right now, if you're Chuck Long, the problem for Bomar is you've got to think that left ankle's still sore, and he's always had a problem kind of stepping into his throws. Now it's even going to be more significant. 3rd and long, I think a little screen here to settle him down.
10 out of 13 in passing, and now the A&M defense rising to the occasion all the way back to the 31-yard line, and Bomar all of a sudden taking a beating here. And he will get up gingerly after a 9-yard loss with Red Bryant on the hit.
Well, so much has been said about the secondary of Texas A&M. When they're healthy up front, they have guys, Red Bryant and Johnny Jolly, who was very questionable coming into this game, that can get after it. And they've kind of taken over this game, Gary. It's unbelievable that right now A&M has the feel that they're back in it.
The kick will come from the 20-yard line. A boomer. Carpenter will let it go. And as we said, this win, don't look at the flags, a 68-yard kick. 68 yards. And it'll come to the 20-yard line where A&M will take over on the 1st down and 10. I want to remind you, coming up, the Capital One halftime show. John, Craig, and Aaron, they'll have the scores and the highlights. Plus, John will sit down with Penn State coaching legend Papa Joe Paterno. It's all coming up. We've got 3:34 left to go here in the 1st half.
Yeah, they're going to put the spat. It's when they tape over the shoe and the sock. I have no idea why it's called a spat, but that's what they're doing.
A&M, boy, if they could put another one up on the option play. McNeil, a great pitch, 25-30, and out of bounds near the 35-yard line. Courtney Lewis, a 14-yard gain, and Lewis is rising to the occasion here.
He's finally looking healthy. Fake it. You know, they've got two running backs now in Jaworski Lane and Courtney Lewis, and they can have them both in that shotgun with the two backs to each side. And Oklahoma a little bit on their heels in this running game.
5 carries and 35 yards for Courtney Lewis, and he's caught a 5-yard touchdown pass along with it. Reggie McNeil on the first down end at 10. Big room in the pocket, and that'll be incomplete and almost intercepted. That is the second ball in this game that has been dropped that should have been caught, and Jason Carter dropped that one.
And Carter, a guy that's been the most reliable receiver for A&M this year. With all of the injuries they've had, he's been the guy who's kind of stepped up, and the outstretched arm of the linebacker, Zach Latimer, did not touch the ball, but I think it threw the concentration off for Carter. He needs to make that catch.
That's been a problem all year for Reggie McNeil. He talked about that with us. So many young receivers, sometimes when they get to the line of scrimmage, he's still telling them what the routes are that they've got to run out there. McNeil decides to hand it off. They needed a lot for a first down, and they don't get very much. A 1-yard gain for Jaworski Lane.
It'd be times I have to tell them they run out the huddle. I have to yell out trips or certain formation a couple of times, make them run over there, or tell them what motions to do or what kind of route to run on certain defenses. I mean, but they all learning though.
Well, when you lose Irvin Taylor, Chad Schrader, and Latydrick Riley for the season, and all the young guys have to step up, and it's unfortunate because Reggie worked with those guys all summer, and you'd think third and long you'd like to have him out there.
2 for 5 on third down conversions. A big rush from the right end position. Gets out, and it's caught at the 48-yard line. Nice catch made. Coming back was Howard Morrow. It was a freshman, a true freshman, and a 10-yard gain on the first down.
Well, what I like about this play was, even though he's about to throw downfield on a broken play to a true freshman, a lot of times in the past you'd see McNeil take that down and try to run. He would not have picked up the first down. There was good pursuit coming from the inside. He stayed parallel to the line of scrimmage and came back to a true freshman. Nice play.
That's just the 4th reception on the season for Morrow. It is a first down at 10, 2:17 to go here in the first half. McNeil on the handoff, and maybe a gain of 1 or 2 on that one as they went off left tackle to Courtney Lewis again. The rushing game for Texas A&M, they are pretty good at that, 223 yards. They are 222 in the passing game, not much of a differential. And they will use their first time out here because they know with 2:06 to go, they got time to stick in another touchdown.
Yeah, absolutely. And you have that timeout to kind of settle things down. They've got some momentum. And, you know, so much has been said all year about Texas A&M and all their, you know, Reggie's having a bad year. But if you look at these numbers, it's almost staggering how good they've been offensively compared to defensively. I mean, obviously, the kicking game, offense, defense, they're all intertwined. And so, offensively, they've been battling field position issues because of the struggles on defense. But to put those types of numbers up with really virtually no help from your defense, it's been a much better year than people like to talk about it for the Aggies.
Offensively, Oklahoma and A&M actually line up pretty evenly when you look at their season numbers in most of the departments. But it goes back to that A&M defense. Well, let's see what they run here. We have not seen A&M throw any of their trick plays yet, and maybe trying to get on the board here with 2:06 to go. We'll
you know,
see
last year, the first ball game of the season against Clemson, we saw them go almost exclusively to the gun run when they were struggling. We've seen a little bit more of that. I would expect that with 2 timeouts, Dennis Franchione wants to eat this clock and put points on the board with goose eggs across because he doesn't want to see his defense have to go back out.
They get a second down and 9. They are up to 201 yards now for A&M in the game. Oklahoma at 347. That's a magnificent comeback for A&M in the first half from where it was in the first quarter. McNeil over the middle. That's caught. No. For the 3rd time, a receiver drops the football, and that's Bennett. And you see McNeil turning around, putting his head down, going, guys, you got to hang on to the football. And they didn't. Tomorrow night, 8:30 Eastern, ESPN, the Browns take on the Steelers. And on Monday Night Football at 9 Eastern on ABC, Al Michaels, John Madden, they'll be in Philly as Bill Parcells, Drew Bledsoe, they lead the Cowboys against McNabb and the Eagles. Games coming up, 8:30 Eastern, ESPN tomorrow, and then Monday Night Football at 9 o'clock ABC. McNeil right now is 8 for 18, 109 yards, 2 touchdowns, and 1 interception. McNeil getting the rush, and McNeil gets sacked, and down go all the flags on the face mask. Clint Ingram got there, but Oklahoma is going to pay.
And it was the athleticism of Reggie McNeil that caused this face mask. Ingram comes off of the edge, completely unblocked on a blitz, and Reggie goes to move and get out of the way.
Personal foul, face mask, 44 on the defense. That's 15 yards from the previous spot, first down.
But it's just the sheer athleticism of Reggie McNeil. Watch when he goes to make this move. Ingram's got him dead to rights. And as he goes to duck under, he's just trying to grab for anything to make a play. And if you have a quarterback that's not that athletic, it's probably just an 8 or 9 yard loss, and A&M is punting away, and it's a field position changer.
Because he runs so well, it's very hard to get him in a sack situation. You see A&M has allowed only 7 sacks all year, and Oklahoma has 29 as a team. Keep that penalty in mind. That is an enormous penalty. With 1:50 to go here in the half, a first down at 10, and they get the ball down to the 37-yard line, and again the flags go down.
A&M has got, their offensive linemen have got to stop watching the defense. They keep flinching every time Oklahoma comes into blitz. They keep moving. That time it was Dominique Steamer again. It's the second one, but they just continue. Listen, they're going to move around. They're going to bark and yell and everything. Just focus in on the ball or Reggie. If you're in silent, count the ball. If there's a snap count on your quarterback, McNeil. But just quit looking at the defense.
All 4 of those penalties have been false starts against the A&M offensive line in this game. Reggie McNeil has it moved back, first down 15, and that's going to be incomplete. Ball deflected as it was touched on the pass up near the line of scrimmage. McNeil got boxed in on that one.
Well, the fans just told us who tipped it. Rufus Alexander. They've got that Rufus thing going. It sounds like they're booing their own team. I think that's pretty much required in stadiums. Anytime anybody has a name that has some kind of ooh in it, they have to make it sound like a boo.
Number 42.
Rue.
He leads in solo tackles. He leads in tackles. He leads in breakups. He's second on the team in tackles for a loss, and he's got 4 sacks. Rufus Alexander. McNeil back again, second and 15. Has time, throws over the middle. That one is caught at the 30-yard line, up in the air, near the first down. And if he got it, boy, did he pay for it. A 15-yard gain and an alley-oop for Howard Morrow.
Looks like number 5 for USC, who always does that plunge into the end zone. But Morrow, it took him half a second. You know, it's a young receiver. It took him half a second to start getting upfield. He's running a drag route. And then he says, wait a minute, I've got nobody around. And then he luckily saw where the flag was for the first down, the stakes. And he goes up over the top.
Anya Nagacha moved in as he went up. Yellow, and fortunately landed on the backside where you carry your wallet. That's a place you want to land on the football field.
You have to, yeah.
And on that part of your body, for that matter. Timeout taken by A&M. They're threatening to score again.
Here.
This is a Dad's Weekend here. And by the way, to all our servicemen and women, as it is Veterans Weekend, we salute you and thank you. Well, they're driving, first down and 10. Out of the shotgun, McNeil will bring somebody else back with him. They fake, want the pitch, near side, option play. Looking the other way for McNeil. He never got out of the backfield. You're on your own now, kid. Carter will whiz that one upfield, and it's incomplete at the 20-yard line. And there will be flags down here, and probably there are all kinds of ineligible receivers downfield.
I also think they got a holding call up top.
Carter wanted to throw back to McNeil going the other way, but McNeil never got out of the pack.
Well, and that's just Brent Venables. We were out of practice the other day. The entire last half hour of practice was nothing but fake plays. You know, playing A&M, you are going to see some kind of fake play. And with Carter, who's a former high school quarterback, you better believe they knew he came in there. There was good coverage downfield. Anya Nagacha did a really nice job of staying with his man so that all Carter could do was try to make a play with his feet.
And Carter almost threw that one away. That would have been a very costly interception. He's, in the Big 12 history, the only player to have at least one pass, reception, rush, and return in 4 consecutive seasons. So that means he gets called on to do a lot of things.
Well, and we wanted to meet with him yesterday, and they said, sorry, but Mr. Carter's meeting with the offensive coordinator. You can't speak to him right now. It's because he does all that stuff.
The 9th play of this drive coming up here. Long yardage. A&M trying to take it in. McNeil on the fake. Big rush. McNeil gets away, but he's down. A big-time sack by Calvin Thibodeau. His 6th sack and an 11-yard loss. And only the 8th time they've gotten to McNeil.
Thibodeau has had just an amazing last half of the season. He was dominant in that game against Nebraska.
Now the clock running against A&M as well. 33 seconds left to go on it. Back at midfield, McNeil looking over the middle. Wow, a bullet caught right there at the 30-yard line, and down near the original line of scrimmage, Jason Carter. They have a timeout left. Ingram put the hit on, a 16-yard gain. But they are still going to be 10 yards shy of a first down, and that is the last timeout for A&M. Coming up, the Capital One halftime show. John, Craig, and Aaron are standing by. We'll have scores and highlights from all the other games going on, and John will be sitting down with a conversation with Penn State coach Joe Paterno. That's all coming up in our halftime report.
You know, A&M now without timeouts. And during this drive, Dennis Franchione has kind of used them strategically throughout the drive to make sure they had all of the right personnel and play call. And you might say, well, wait a minute. You should save one of those in case you have to get your field goal unit on. But I think he used his timeouts perfectly because of what we've been talking about with his young players. Get over to the sideline when it's an important down. Make sure they know where they're lying so Reggie McNeil doesn't have to yell at him and say, come on, man, you're in motion. So in a perfect world, you'd obviously not want to have used those timeouts. But I think Dennis Franchione did the right thing for what they're dealing with A&M, with all of the personnel in and out and the young guys.
They have their last timeout chance to talk over there. A&M has scored a couple of touchdowns here after getting behind early. They've made it 28-14. They looked like they were going to be completely run off the field at the end of that first quarter.
And Todd Pegram is a sensational kicker. So right now, I think you can look for something in the end zone, Gary. Really take a shot here if you want.
Reggie McNeil on this 3rd down and 10. McNeil looking, fakes. Now he throws the lob to the corner. Carter makes the catch and dropped it. He had it falling into the end zone and could not hang on, and he's down.
Yeah, he landed on his back. I think he knocked the wind out. There was a lot of hand pushing. I love this call by Les Caney. This is an out and up by Jason Carter. Watch the pump, and then Carter goes deep. And him and Anya Nagacha were tied up the whole time. Well, I guess, you know, at the end of the play with both guys pushing, that's a good no call. I was thinking possibly pass interference, but both guys are kind of battling with their arms. Landed right on his back. Let's hope he just knocked the wind out of himself.
Could not hang on. How big a catch would that have been?
Love the call. Absolutely love the call. You've got Pegram on there he's at 27 of his last 31, so he's nearly automatic. And I just think that was the right call to try to get that up there.
With only 11 seconds left to go, they need to here, obviously. They can take him directly into the dressing room. Carter sure looks like he just had his wind knocked out of him. So he gets a couple of receptions, 25 yards. And now Lane Newman has come on to do the kicking for Todd Pegram. He is their longer kicker.
Well, Pegram's got a 45-yarder.
Yeah.
And I always wonder, you've got a different holder and a different kicker. You might think fake here. I think Pegram should be the guy kicking this one.
This is a 45-yard attempt, and right now the wind not blowing very hard anywhere. Snap down. They had a bad snap. It is up, and it is no good to the right. So Lane Newman comes on to do the kicking. He is not their regular kicker.
But you can't blame him, though, because it was the snap does not get down. It hits the holder, Ty Brannion, on the left hip, and he cannot handle it. It's not a terrible snap from Corey Davis, but Ty Brannion, remember, this is a left-footed kicker, Pegram a right-footed kicker. So Brannion is holding differently for this kicker than he would for Pegram.
Don't understand that.
And the snapper is snapping to a different side. So again, I go back, I know Pegram, his career long is right there at 45, and that's about the outside range, but you change the battery between the snapper and the holder, and everything just goes awry.
Well, the Oklahoma defense holds up in an important drive right there, as Oklahoma had a 21-0 lead in this game, but they will go into the dressing room at the half, leading at 28-14. Bomar, who went down hurt a bit with the ankle, limping a little bit, and Reggie McNeil, who had a tough start, has come on with a much better second quarter. And Texas A&M is very much in this football game. Let's get downstairs. Vince Welch.
Coach, you dominated early with 3 quick touchdowns. Statistically, it says you're dominating, but on the scoreboard, it doesn't. Why?
Well, you know, they've made some nice plays. I think penalties, we've kind of hurt ourselves a little bit with some poor penalties and a turnover inside our own 20.
How about Red Bomar and his condition? Will he play in the second half?
He's fine.
Okay. Thank you, Coach. Gary?
All right, and obviously Coach Stoops wanted to make clear Bomar was going to be playing. 28-14 Sooners at the half. Now let's go to our New York studio. Capital One halftime report. John, Craig, and Aaron. It's all yours.
Gary, thanks a lot. I think at the beginning of the year, with the way Oklahoma came out, we would have called them one of the most disappointing teams of the season. But they're young, and they're getting better.
Yep.
Texas A&M, on the other hand, is one of the most disappointing teams.
And this is judging season, isn't it? This is when you start trying to look and evaluate where programs are and where they stand. Definitely Oklahoma's gotten better. This second half for Texas A&M is a chance for them to come out and play well. They got to play hard. They can't afford to come out here and lay an egg in the second half. Oklahoma's a good team. They've gotten a lot better. Now we need to find out about the Aggies.
And they've had their opportunities, and that's why they're in this game. They could be even more in this game, but they've had drop balls. Reggie Ball missed a deep ball that would have been for a touchdown. Right there at the end, you miss a field goal. A&M is in position to make some things happen, but they're not taking care of those opportunities. They got to do that in the second half, and if they do, they'll be all right.
All right, 28-14 is the score at halftime. When we come back, we'll check some scores and highlights from other games. Rich Bomar running this one in for the Sooners.
Watching college football on ABC Sports Championship Television.
And welcome back to Oklahoma, everybody, where Oklahoma's got the lead. They scored on the first 3 series there. They had the football, but then a fumble cough up, and A&M took advantage of that. A&M got another TD, and they're right back in it. Gary Thornett Cunningham back with you here, so we got a football game.
Didn't feel like it, did it? For a long time, it felt like this thing was going to get way out of hand, but you've got to really give a lot of credit to A&M for hanging in, because early on it was all Adrian Peterson. Rhett Bomar looked fantastic at times at quarterback. He was very accurate with the ball. 277 total yards of offense for Oklahoma just in the first quarter. But then the fumble that you alluded to on the exchange between Bomar and Peterson led to this Martellus Bennett touchdown. Touchdown later, cut it to 14, a missed field goal. But the story we're going to track here in the second half, Rhett Bomar looked like he had a very severe ankle injury, got up very tough, finished the half. But I've got to think, if I'm Carl Torbush, the defensive coordinator for Texas A&M, I know they're shorthanded. I know they've got a lot of guys hurt, but they need to change this around. 345 yards of total offense. I think you come after Bomar. Now you blitz, and Peterson can break a couple of long ones, but that's a risk I think that A&M should take. Start blitzing what may be a hobbled Rhett Bomar.
You saw that he was still limping down there on the sideline, so we'll see what happens here. And for A&M, they're going to get the football first. Bomar right there. He hobbled off, and he's still hobbling as we get ready to start this second half. Hartley will be doing the kicking. Jason Carter and Courtney Lewis will be back for A&M. A&M had a big chance on the final series in the final minute of the first half to try and put another one up on the board. They could not get it done and missed the field goal. So they could have been 3 or even 7 points closer. with the way they played.
They brought in Lane Newman there, and I mean, he's their long distance. It would have been a 45-yarder. The wind has been swirling, but you just guess that it's going to be coming right to left as you're. So it felt like A&M felt like they were going into this wind, so they brought in Newman as a little more leg than Todd Pegram, but you flop the holder. On the other side, it's different for the snapper. They had a bad exchange and couldn't make it.
See, the wind has picked up here. That football's been knocked over a couple of times, so they'll hold it here. He's kicking with the wind at his back and kicks a blind drive shot, and they'll let that one roll into the end zone. So A&M will take over on the 20-yard line, and we'll check in with Vince Welch. Vince.
Well, Gary, as you said, it is a windy day, but it's a beautiful day. You'll take 70 degrees in Oklahoma in November anytime. Coach Francione of the Texas A&M Aggies wasn't all that disappointed. Obviously, down just 14 after trailing 21-0. But he says this first drive of the third quarter is going to be key. So we put up more than 200 yards of offense. A lot of teams don't get that against Oklahoma in an entire game. So he's not unhappy with the way things have gone, but says they need to get some stops and pick up a turnover or two.
Oklahoma's second rushing defense in the nation, giving up only 69 yards a game. A&M McNeil, and he's going to get sacked on the first play. Getting back in there was C.J. Ayu, the JUCO player who came out of BYU and is here now at Oklahoma. Let's take a look at our Pacific Life game summary.
Take a look at some of the statistics from that first half. And A&M offensively, over 200 yards of total offense. McNeil has been sacked more than what you would expect. And I think the Oklahoma defense is doing a very nice job of finishing their rushes. And Adrian Peterson back up into that 90-95 percentile range with his ankle health. And he's looked just as good as he did last year at times.
McNeil knocked down and incomplete. And again, it was Ayu who's having a heck of a start here to the second half. He gets the sack, the third of the game, and then knocks the pass down.
Well, we've been talking a lot about the injuries for A&M defensively. For Oklahoma, they lost two of their defensive ends for the year earlier in the season, Larry Burdine and John Williams. And Ayu, a guy you mentioned transferred in, they weren't really expecting him to have to play very much, but they've been very happy with how he's held up. And we saw Thibodeau earlier. He's just been on a tear for the last few ball games.
3 of 7 third down conversions in the first half for A&M. They get a big third down to start this second half. Out of the shotgun, 5 receivers. McNeil looking, gets a rush, held on to. He's got a man from behind, gets away, fakes it again, and will be taken down shy of the first down at the 23-yard line. Rufus Alexander, after a 6-yard gain, they'll force the punt.
Well, great coverage down the field. Brent Venables has been fighting the demons with some of these young defensive backs, but they were on their assignments. But what I've really liked, Gary, and we already kind of talked about at the beginning of the game, is these young players, Rufus Alexander, Zach Latimer, they're guys that didn't have a lot of experience. Although they're juniors, they didn't play a lot before this year. Man, have they, you can't tackle an athlete like that any better than Alexander and Latimer just did.
Brantley gets that one over the outstretched arms, and another good kick. Fair catch called for. They'll let it roll, and it will take the sideways roll, and another good kick. Brantley was averaging 46 yards and 3 kicks in the first half. He gets 44 yards. Now Bomar for Oklahoma on the sideline. Looks like he's ready to go, and they'll send him out despite a tough first half.
The offensive line for Oklahoma played really well 2 weeks ago against Nebraska, the best sack team in the country. They held them to just 1 sack. But even with Johnny Jolly injured on the inside, it's been the inside defensive line for Texas A&M that has caused the most pressure. An outstanding game so far for Red Bryant. Big presence in the middle.
Oklahoma gets the football. Rhett Bomar, 11 out of 14 in the air. He'll start that way here. Midfield completes it, and it's out of bounds. Good gain of 17 yards that time. We've seen a number of receivers. Kelly's become his favorite. Malcolm Kelly, the freshman, again on that one.
And Rhett Bomar is not healthy. He tries to boot out, and he just stops. He falling back, and they've been talking with Bomar all season long about getting his body into his throws. He's got such a gifted arm. Chuck Long has been just hammering him. Get your body into it. Right now, his plant foot's his left foot. And when they turn around and go into the wind, Gary, that might help get some of those turnovers that Dennis Francione said they need.
Kelly's had 3 receptions now for 101 yards in the football game. Going straight up the middle this time, and it'll be about the 48-yard line. Johnny Jolly moving in to put the hit on Peterson. Adrian Peterson, he had 87 yards, 15 carries, 2 touchdowns in the first half.
That's from that sideways kind of gun run formation. I think with 28s in the game, line him up in the eye. He is such a better runner going downhill right at the off tackle spot. Don't make this guy run sideways. Get him going right at the line of scrimmage.
There's Peterson's numbers so far in this game. Standing back at the 45, that'll be completed shy of a first down to the 43-yard line to Travis Wilson, who's been their leading receiver. A 6-yard gain. And you see Bomar's trying to get 2 steps and get rid of it.
Yep.
Trying not to get hit and trying not to have to move on that bad leg.
And that's what Chuck Long is going to have to call, is make sure he's calling shorter routes. Because he's just not going to be able to move out of the way. And I think Torbush, especially in a situation like this, I know he's concerned about his secondary and giving them help. I think you should bring pressure against him.
That's being taped up, what you saw there. This one is knocked down, and could not get rid of that one. The defense charging, and Devin Gregg, a freshman, gets his 7th breakup of the season, knocking that pass down.
And this is going to be a delayed blitz. Greg, the safety, lurking around. He comes late and does a really nice job of reading the eyes of the quarterback. He was actually the guy to the outside. There was 2 defensive backs, and Bomar expecting blitz, so he got rid of it quickly.
Freeby's going to do the kicking. This is the first punt, Oklahoma, and he's angling that one to the corner, and he got more on that than he wanted. And he's mad at himself. He wanted to kick that one out somewhere inside the 10. He gets a 42-yard kick, but A&M's going to get the football on the 21st and 10 as they hold Oklahoma in the first series of the second half.
Clemson, Jimmy Watt at Memorial Stadium.
Well, Dave, Clemson taking advantage of some very good field position here in the second half. They picked up their 2nd touchdown of the 3rd quarter. James Davis, an 8-yard touchdown run. Extra point was good. Touchdown comes at the 5:07 mark to go here in the 3rd quarter. So after only picking up 2 yards of total offense in the 2nd quarter, the Tigers offense has got it together. Tiger Nation pretty happy here at a sunny Death Valley. 28-14, Clemson leads Florida State here in the 3rd quarter.
Tough blow for Todd McShay and the Pontiac game-changing performance. Still time to play. Yeah.
Texas A&M will get the football. Last year, they ended up 7-5 overall. They lost to Tennessee in the Cotton Bowl. They've got to get one more win, either this week or against Texas, in order to make it to become bowl eligible for this season. So that's what's on the line for McNeil and company here today, and then in their final game against Texas.
Yeah, Dennis Franchione told Vince Welch on the way out that that first drive was important. Well, they didn't do much, but he said we also need to get a stop. That was a tremendous stop for Texas A&M defensively. That really, I think, helps this offense get back on track here.
First down and 10. McNeil back, looking deep. McNeil throwing deep, trying to hit on the fly at midfield. It is incomplete. That is DJ Wolf, who did battle with Daquan Mobley on the fly pattern.
This ball thrown way up in this swirling wind. Both players trying to adjust to it. DJ Wolf, a former running back, probably should have caught that on the first try. Mobley never gets his head around to make a play. He's got to get his head turned around and see where that ball is. Mobley just, he missed a bunch of time with some injuries. He just doesn't look like the type of player that we saw earlier in the year, kind of a crafty veteran wide receiver.
So A&M trying to get on the board in one play right there down the sideline. McNeil again, that one over the middle, gets batted away and a flag is down.
Yeah, Anya Negetcha got there early that time. We saw him earlier bat the ball away, and it wasn't pass interference, but this one clearly was.
He doesn't agree with you.
22 on the defense, pass interference. It's a spot foul, first down.
Anya Negetcha with his arms out going, no, I didn't.
I think that's the first thing they teach you as a defensive back, is how to deny.
That was a good attempt at a disguise, though.
Yeah.
He's kind of leaned in towards the football, but he put that right shoulder right into the receiver's side.
And you can't blame him. I mean, the ball's coming in. You've got to go make that play. And he's doing the right thing. He was there early enough to try to get his hand out and maybe reel it in for himself.
First down and 10. Bob Stoops said first half the penalties helped Texas A&M get back into the game. It helps them right here. McNeil rolling out. That will be completed. No. Yes. That'll be completed at the 34-yard line. Howard Morrow on the catch. And he had to do a little tightrope walking in order to keep that one from being out of bounds.
Well, and Brent Venables, one of the first things the defensive coordinator learns is to argue about a play on the sideline. See if Moreau, it's up in his fingertips. Yep. He looked like he had control. He went to switch it. There's Venables saying incomplete, but the official right there on top. It looked to me like he may have bobbled it a little bit more than that.
No group of human beings get as much help as officials, do they? No. On the handoff to the 40 and to midfield. Cutting back at the 45-yard line is Courtney Lewis. Lewis, a 23-yard gain into Oklahoma territory. NYC, John Saunders.
Gary, Clemson already up a touchdown on Florida State, and James Davis takes it in from 8 yards out to make it a 28-14 lead as the son, Tommy Bowden, is doubling up dad, Bobby Bowden. Things are coming apart for Florida State.
You know, John, last week, Daddy Bowden said we've been found out, and they may be found out again. First down and 10, A&M trying to get to within a touchdown here. The handoff to the 40, breaks one, and Courtney Lewis, what a game he's having. Rufus Alexander finally hauls him in, but another gain of 9. And close to a first down, shy of it by maybe 2 yards.
This is a fantastic read on this play by Reggie McNeil. As he goes to hand it off, look where his eyes are, right at the defensive end. Remember, Thibodeau's been the guy who's been home the whole day. So as he reads that, let's stay on that track and give it back. It's just another form of the option, basically, out of the shotgun. Everybody in the country is running it. I bet Pee Wee football is now running this form of offense, but that was just a perfect read of the defensive end and let Lewis go in and pick up 8.
Oklahoma gave up 90 yards in the last 3 games combined rushing. They've given up 116, and that's opening up the passing game here as that's completed at the 25-yard line to Jason Carter, and that's going to be another 10-yard gain. Tonight, ESPN, the latest edition of the SEC's oldest rivalry, the Auburn Tigers and the Georgia Bulldogs. It'll be ESPN tonight, prime time, presented by Polaroid. Kicks it off at 7:45.
Well, we've got an injured quarterback in this game, and Bomar was gimping around. DJ Shockley for Georgia. If he's a little slow moving around, Auburn gets the advantage. They've been playing a lot better defense than they did earlier in the season.
On the fake, looking into the end zone, wide open, incomplete. Cutting across the middle, Boone Stutz was open, but the pass was too far in front of him.
Reggie got happy feet. He saw Stutz coming wide open down the middle of the field. Man, I really like how they use their tight ends at Texas A&M. Got to get some air on that ball. He's trying to drill it. He's got to get just a little bit of air. Not much because the safety's going there, but that's the second time that we've seen the tight ends kind of crisscross. You don't see that a whole lot. You see that with the inside receivers, not the tight ends.
A&M, Jason Carter, primary receiver on the left side in motion. McNeil looking. McNeil throws it over the middle, and that one is incomplete. We welcome those of you who are watching the Ohio State Northwestern game, along with Ed Cunningham, Vince Welch. I'm Gary Thorne. Ohio State 38-7 in that game. Here, a surprising comeback by Texas A&M. It was a 21-0 game. Oklahoma had the lead early in the first half. The A&M team has responded, and now a big 3rd down and 10 here in the 3rd quarter for A&M. They're trying to get this to a 1-touchdown game. Reggie McNeil at quarterback, hasn't run a lot today, but has passed. Looking into the corner, lofts one to Carter. It'll be incomplete, and will bring up a 4th down.
McNeil and Carter were totally confused on that play with what each one was going to do. McNeil thought that Carter was going to run a corner route, and Carter flattened it out. That's why this ball sailed over his head. And we've talked about communication problems with A&M, but this is a couple of veteran guys. That's a big mental mistake between 2 seniors.
Now the field goal attempt, as Todd Pegrin will come on to do the kicking. It will be a 42-yard attempt, and while there's a lot of wind here, it's swirling around. He gets that one up, plenty of leg on it, and it is good. So he is now 12 out of 15 in field goals, and Texas A&M has whittled that lead down another 3. An amazing comeback by a team that looked very outgunned in the first half. Right now, A&M making this a football game. College football on ABC Sports is brought to you by Chevrolet and American Revolution. Singular, raising the bar. Taco Bell, think outside the bun. And Allstate, a proud sponsor of the Bowl Championship Series. Beautiful day. Temperatures in the upper 70s here in Oklahoma. Oklahoma looked like they were going to roll in this game and just walk away, but Texas A&M has retaliated. And now Paul Thompson, the backup quarterback, looking. Rhett Bomar, the starter for Oklahoma, who became the starting quarterback in game 2 of the season. He suffered a leg injury earlier in this game. He was limping around at the end of the first half, and he's been limping here even though he played the first series of the third quarter.
And Lucy is in the building just like it was when we were in Nebraska. It seems like every time you come to a Big 12 game, the wind this time of year.
That's why it used to be 3 yards and a cloud of dust. Yeah. In the Big 12, you could not pass because of the wind, so you played the running game. Now most of the teams in the Big 12, there goes Lucy again. Yeah. Charlie Brown approaches the ball, and off it goes rolling.
Well, and 3 yards and a cloud of dust. The cloud of dust dissipates very quickly in the Midwest.
It certainly does. We had rain this morning. You would never know that now, with lots of blue sky up there. And as we said, while you look at the flags and it looks like that wind is predominantly blowing in one direction or the other, it's not true down on the field. It has been swirling all over the place, and in fact has not had as much of an impact on this game as we thought it would. Texas A&M. And that boot is going to be short. It'll be taken at the 22-yard line. Backwards a bit was Reggie Smith. Finds a little room in great field position. They still haven't got him down, and down go the flags. He got up to the 42-yard line on a tremendous effort on the return by Reggie Smith, who averages 20 yards on kick returns this season.
That's the second return. He's done a really nice job.
Mask number 4. 5 yards added to the end of the run. First down.
Danny Gore got his hand in there and pulled it down. Now we'll take a look at the quarterback, who will limp his way back out there.
Well, Red Bryant, all 320 pounds of him, goes over the block of the fullback Runnels and lands right on the left leg. We thought he had severely injured his lower leg. It just didn't look good when he landed. But he got up, ran around. They called a timeout. He only came out for a couple of plays, but he's limited. And I know A&M's. They're shorthanded in their secondary, and they don't want to expose them anymore, but I think they need to bring some pressure.
And that'll be a gain of maybe a couple of yards. Adrian Peterson has had a tremendous football game. Let's check in again with John Saunders. John.
Florida's trying to mount a comeback against South Carolina, driving the ball nicely. Chris Leak, 11 yards to Bill Latsko. They don't go for the 2-point conversion, so it's a 1-point game. But then South Carolina drives deep with a long pass, and then Mike Davis from a yard out. South Carolina's lead is now 8, 27-19. About 6 minutes left in the third quarter, Gary.
All right, John. North Carolina going for the upset there, while A&M's trying to do that here out of the shotgun. Bomar over the middle. That'll be incomplete. He overthrew Malcolm Kelly, who's at 101 yards. In receptions today for Kelly, and there's Adrian Peterson.
And it's the same ankle. It's the right ankle that he hurt earlier in the year against TCU and re-injured it against Kansas State. And when you have that high ankle sprain, you just never know if someone's going to land on it wrong. And that's Devin Gregg, who's been really active around the line of scrimmage today, landing on the back of his leg. And Peterson came over extremely frustrated. At this point, it's not about the pain, it's about the frustration. He's going to have a tough one the rest of the ball game.
That changes the whole complexion of this offense now. Bomar back, big rush. Bomar trying to get out of there, and the bad ankle will be taken down back at the 39-yard line. And you know, Michael Bennett of A&M and the rest of the defense saw Adrian Peterson leave the field. It'll be the second sack of the day against Bomar.
It's almost hard, because we just had part of the audience join us. It's almost hard to explain to them how much of a blowout this felt like in the first quarter. Oklahoma went up 21-0. They had 277 yards of offense in the first quarter alone. But since then, A&M found something somewhere. This is a depleted lineup, and Michael Bennett, a true freshman, finishes it on a gimpy Bomar.
And they will force the punt as Marquise Carpenter will let that one go, and there is a break. 4-yard line. where it is downed by Alan Patrick, who has scored a touchdown today. That is going to be a 57-yard kick by Cody Freeby, and they'll be backed up. A&M will.
A&M defense had let its head drop, but the body language has changed dramatically as A&M has come back in this game, and it's now a confident A&M defense that's made a difference so far. Gary?
McNeil out of the end zone, and the ball is loose. No signal yet. It is in the end zone. He wanted to throw the football and throw it away, but did he get that arm coming forward? It is a safety. IU on the big charge with Calvin Thibodeau, and now McNeil's limping. So both starting quarterbacks have limped off the field at one point or other in this game.
Take a look at this. Did he fumble or not? This is a reviewable play. Fumbles are reviewable. It looked to me like the ball came out before his arm was going forward. Yes. Right call. They will not overturn that. My question, though, Gary, is down there, they've had the running game going, and you've got a running quarterback against Oklahoma's front with Dusty Dvorak, Thibodeau, IU, who's had a great game. I don't know that a drop-back pass is the right call in that situation. Pick up 4 or 5 yards and see then if you can pick up the third down. But to drop back against this type of front is always a dangerous situation, and you just ruined all of your momentum that we were talking about.
We've got a couple players down on this. McNeil tried to get over there to go to the bench, and they had to help him up once, and now they're going to have to help him up again. So Reggie McNeil is on his way out of there, and we'll see whether or not he can get back in. This Texas A&M, the Aggie offense, without him, they have no idea, because for 4 years he has been the leader both in the air and on the ground for this team. So we'll see. Stephen McGee, number 15, over there throwing on the sideline for the Aggies.
And Les Caning, McGee has played quite a bit this year. He's a redshirt freshman. He's 15 of 24 for 200 yards, but it's all been mop-up stuff. They've had a couple of blowouts where he's been able to come in and play. And he's been telling McGee every week he gets ready, he said, your true mark of how you prepared will be when we really need you. Well, they really need him right now.
A big play, 30-17. There you see the numbers for McGee. Just limited action, and as Ed said, in mop-up situations. They're going to get the kick here from the 20-yard line. Texas A&M will be doing the kicking that cost them 2 points, 30-17 now. And more importantly, Oklahoma's going to get that football right back. That is in play back at the 15. Alan Patrick at the 22-yard line is where he will go down. Good work on the coverage. That ball got away from him. He may have touched it. Danny Gore got back to put the hit on.
What great coverage by A&M. They need their defense. This is a sudden change. This is what you talk about all the time. Your coordinator's always talking about, and that's Jason Carter getting stretched out. Boy, guys are just going down, and for A&M, we've already talked about all the injuries, but Reggie McNeil, they just cannot lose him.
Omar back in at quarterback for Oklahoma. 3 receivers out. Adrian Peterson is back in the lineup. So Peterson, who we saw limping off, is back in carrying the football to the 22 and will be taken at the 23, and a flag goes down. So Adrian Peterson, who looked like he was headed to the locker room and going out, all of a sudden is right back in carrying the football, and a holding call will go against Oklahoma.
So unusual to see a guy. I mean, he really limped off the field. Peterson really, and he's got one of those high ankle sprains. When you tweak it, usually it hurts for a while.
89 on the offense. 10 yards, repeat first down.
Tough to keep up with who's in and who's out of here. Let's check in with Vince again. Vince Welch.
Well, Reggie McNeil was trying to put some weight on his left ankle. They've just taken the tape off his ankle and shoe, and the trainer tried to pull Reggie's shoe off, and you could see the pain and the reaction of Reggie McNeil's face. So the trainer had him take it off, but that gives you an indication of how sore it is if it was even painful for the trainer to try to remove the shoe. But they're going to retape him, take a look at it, get all the tape off his ankle, and get a look at it before they decide whether he can get back in the game.
All right, that'll leave it up to the A&M defense here to try and get the football back. The A&M defense much maligned this season as they were next to last in Division I in passing yards surrendered. Bomar trying to take advantage of it. The little screen to the 20-yard line and a shoestring tackle right there near the original line of scrimmage. J.D. Runnels, the one who got tackled. Let's check in again with John Saunders. John.
Carrying the singular All-America Player of the Week update. How about Charlie Whitehurst? This great pass to Aaron Kelly. Actually first ruled no touchdown, then reviewed it, called it a call. 21 of 28, 269 yards and 3 touchdowns. Text the word VOTE to 87654 now on your singular phone for your ballot and a chance to win a trip to the national championship. And Clemson is rolling as well. Aaron.
All right, Clemson, big offensive day, and they're still in the third quarter, and they've got 35 points in that game. Red Bomar now in the second down and 9. Looks like he may have changed it up at the line of scrimmage off that bad ankle to the 33, 34-yard line, and very close. It looks like a first down. Malcolm Kelly. And there goes the A&M quarterback, Reggie McNeil.
What a shame. Young man worked so hard to get ready for his senior year. Turned around a difficult 0-3 for this program. Played great last year with 7 wins. And this year has just been disastrous. Injuries all around him. He's one of only 3 guys to play every game on offense this year. And now you've got to go back with Stephen McGee as your quarterback, and a lot of plays have to leave the playbook. You just don't have the same dynamic athlete.
Hand off straight ahead to the 36-yard line. Adrian Peterson again on the carry. Not a lot of room up the middle as Devin Gregg moved in and put the hit on. Peterson looks like he is all right. It's amazing. He'll come out for the play here, but he's running fine and appears to be okay. Though Peterson will continue his day. Going to be another 100-yard rushing day for him. You see he's being asked on the sideline.
How he is, yeah.
You all right?
Unbelievable. When he came off, I mean, he almost threw his helmet. He was so frustrated by being re-injured.
Second down and 8. Oklahoma with a football. Bomar, very bad pitch. It will be recovered by Jones. Kewan Jones that time couldn't worry about running it. He just had to get to it. Michael Bennett was back there on the coverage.
And this is everything to do with the left ankle of Rhett Bomar. Sounds strange, but you've got to be able to plant on your left foot when you go to pitch it. When he goes to pitch it, he's got nothing. He's got no post to pitch off of, and the ball just slips right out of his hand. He's favoring that ankle so much, it's like everything else is suffering from it.
Gave it a little hop sketch on that one. It'll be a 3rd down and 13. 3rd down conversions have not been good in the last couple of games, and it sure isn't going to work here. Wow.
Yeah, Cooper, the actually true freshman who's in there because Chris Bush broke his hand against Oklahoma. Watch the snap just kind of dribble over here to the left, and with your quarterback Gimpy already, he just falls straight down. He's got nothing on his left side to kind of rely on, but tough duty for Cooper, a true freshman coming in. And the defensive line for right now is playing as well as they've played all year for Texas A&M.
4 and 9, 3rd down conversions. That'll bring up the 4th down long yardage 18. Low snap. Gets the kickoff from the 16-yard line. And that's going to take an Oklahoma bounce. And will be downed at the 21-yard line. A 53-yard punt. Cody Freeby kicks the long ones, but now Texas A&M down 30-17, but very much in this game is going to have to see if Stephen McGee, a redshirt freshman, 6'3", 205-pounder, can run this offense.
And McGee, obviously not quite the runner that McNeil is. They're very excited about him. But this is the place where Les Canning said, your first opportunity to help, you've got to be ready. You've played in some mop-up duty, but when it's time to go, that's when we'll figure out what you've got.
He has played in 6 games as a backup this season, working out of the shotgun. He will carry it himself to the 22-yard line, and then he will be taken by Clint Ingram and knocked back. So forward progress will give him maybe a gain of 1 on that. So he calls his own number on the option play on the first of the series for the Aggies.
And what you worry about in this situation is McGee has seen all kinds of practice time. He's played a little bit, but you're playing on the road. There's wind in his face right now. And I would think if Les Caney, I think the wind has kind of settled in, Gary. I think it's kind of been more steady right to left than it was in the first half. Don't put him in a position to make a turnover. Try to get out of this corner and get the wind at his back.
2nd down and 9 situation. Good protection, throwing to the sideline and overthrows it. That'll be incomplete. And that was a pass that had a lot of air underneath it, but not much downfield room to it. And it's incompleted. Let's take a look at our Dr. Pepper Big 12 update. As we're getting set to see who the teams are going to be in the championship game. There are the scores today. Missouri the early lead. Texas Tech trailing Oklahoma State. How about that? Colorado's got the shot. Iowa State, they come away with a win in that one, and they're going to be in the championship game. And same is true for Texas in their game against Kansas later on today.
Kansas has one of the best defenses in the Big 12. Offensively, they finally found Little Stride, got some guys healthy. I don't know how much of a fight they can put up, but I think defensively they can hang in there for a while.
Trying to get to the first down marker, and dives out of bounds at the 33-yard line. Courtney Lewis. Lewis is having one of his better games. A 10-yard gain. The coaching staff keeping McGee as close as they can after each play so they can give him the offensive numbers. 79 yards for number 25 today, now up to 81. 9 rushes, a 9-yard average. Yeah, in the game today, and by far his best game.
And I think that the game plan right now has to be Jaworski Lane, Courtney Lewis. If you do much throwing, it's safe stuff, especially into the wind. Some type of screen or a little dump off to a receiver, but nothing. Don't put McGee in a bad place with the wind in his face right now.
They go to the shotgun on the first down and at 10. A handoff straight ahead, and it'll be a good 4-yard gain. So indeed, we do see the running game here. We want to remind you, near the conclusion of our game, we'll select a Chevrolet player of the game from each team. Chevrolet will make a $1,000 contribution to each university's general scholarship fund. Reggie McNeil, starting quarterback for A&M, out of the ball game. And Stephen McGee trying to run the offense now. This offense, during the season, 11th in the nation in rushing. They're 58th in passing, 26th in scoring, not bad. But McNeil has been such a huge part of it. Oklahoma wants to use their timeout. So 30-17, Oklahoma on top in this game. A far better battle, I think, than everybody, including us, thought it would be, especially after the way it started.
Well, there's always the story of injuries late in the season as things start to accumulate the bumps and bruises. But today, talk about key players being hurt. Bomar, who just does not look the same since he got landed on by Red Bryant, and then a re-aggravation of a lingering injury for Adrian Peterson. Good news for Oklahoma, he's back, but this is the one that may end up having the biggest impact on the game. Reggie McNeil is what Texas A&M is. This team goes as he goes, especially this year with all of their struggles defensively. And Bomar has been out there gimping around a little bit, but there's been a couple of plays where you think, they might have to change up what they're doing, just go to that I formation. If Peterson's healthy, I think they should just go straight I and let him pound it downhill with a 13-point lead.
Oklahoma's coming off a bye week. They've had 3 wins in a row: Kansas, Baylor, and Nebraska. The teams they've beaten, Texas A&M. They, for the 3rd time this year, have to face a team that's had a bye week the week before. No small task there. They lost to Iowa State, Texas Tech in their last 2. They've got Texas as the last game on their schedule, and A&M has got to come away with a win in one of those 2 games to be bowl eligible. While Oklahoma, they want to run the table for the remaining schedule and try and make a run at the Cotton Bowl due to a schedule change. They still have Texas Tech and Oklahoma State remaining after this game.
Texas Tech, because of the secondary for Oklahoma being inexperienced, athletic but inexperienced, you've got to figure that Mike Leach is going to be able to take advantage of some of their deficiencies backside mentally.
2nd down and 7 out of the shotgun over the middle, and not even close. Really nobody open there for McGee to throw to, as he had Martellus Bennett, the man he was looking to. You're looking at a record crowd here today, 84,943, a new attendance record in Oklahoma. With Ed Cunningham, Vince Welch, and our crew, I'm Gary Thorne. Great to have you with us. The Oklahoma fans were cheering early when it was 21-0. They are a bit pensive right now. That safety, which has upped it to 30-17, but you don't feel it's very safe. 4 out of 10 third down conversions today for A&M. It is a 3rd down and 7 here. And McGee doesn't like what he sees, and he will ask for the timeout. And those are the kind of problems you have when you got, it's not the quarterback's fault. He just hasn't played enough games and didn't like what he saw.
And right now there's going to be a cat and mouse where Brent Venables, the defensive coordinator, is going to start moving people around. That time it looked like McGee was going to have one-on-one coverage to his right on Daquan Mobley. Anya Ngecha lined up, and as soon as that safety came over, makes you think he had kind of locked in and thought, that's the guy I'm going to go to. And a nice safe throw here would be some type of fade.
We are approaching the end of the regular college season, and next Saturday on ABC at 1 o'clock, the game. Ohio State will take on Michigan, one of the great rivalries, of course, in the Big Ten. Some will see the 108th meeting of the big game as Cal will take on Stanford, 4 o'clock Pacific time. Will the band be once again involved in the game?
Watch out, trombone player.
Only the trombone and brass section know for sure. The infamous run back that ended a football game that everybody thought was already over. And you'll see that coming up on ABC next week, those two great matchups.
Troy Smith taking over at quarterback a couple of games into the season has put Ohio State in position to possibly win the Big Ten. They need Penn State to lose, but Marshawn Lynch, he's finally healthy. If you have not seen him play, he's a very explosive running back and has a great future ahead of him at Cal.
This is a 3rd down and 7 for A&M. 5 receivers, 3 to the wide side. One-on-one coverage for Oklahoma. Big rush put on. He's got some room, and he's going to get a 1st down. And takes a hard hit at the 45-yard line by DJ Wolf. That's another thing. A veteran quarterback will veer to the left.
Yeah, or slide.
He took a shot.
DJ Wolf was in one-on-one coverage over there, and the defensive end lost contain. And McGee, he's an athletic. I mean, everybody's going to pale in comparison, obviously, to guys like Vince Young and Reggie McNeil, but McGee does a really nice job of making his decision. But at the end of the play, Stephen, these guys are for real. This is no longer high school. These guys will come up and tattoo you.
You want to take the better part of the virtuous route. Get out of the way. Good play, though. He got a 1st down at 10, so A&M picks it up. Here's the option play. Makes the pitch at midfield to the 45 and into Oklahoma territory down to the 30-yard line. A fine job on the pitch play right there as Courtney Lewis, a 24-yard gain.
And McGee does a really nice job of setting the timing of this up. Hold it, hold it, hold it, pitch late. If he pitches that too early, Clint Ingram, who's forcing the pitch, can now get involved in going out to try to defend on Courtney Lewis. Watch right here as he runs right at him and pitches it, and there's no way for Ingram to recover. The receiver downfield catching the ball late.
A&M has rushed for 160 yards. Courtney Lewis has got 106 of them against an Oklahoma defense that gives up 69 a game. Option play again, going to cut back into the middle and does a good job to make something out of nothing. That's a 5-yard gain. Oklahoma played the stretch and gave him a little room to cut back into, and he took it.
What's this guy trying to do? His best Reggie McNeil impersonation. He gets out top, and it looks like he's going to pitch it, but he saw that the cornerback came
against
Clint Ingram, who's forcing the pitch.
A fine job
at the end of the play. Stephen, these guys are for real. This is no longer high school. These guys will come up and tattoo you.
You want to take the better part of the virtuous route. Get out of the way. Good play, though. He got a 1st down at 10, so A&M picks it up. Here's the option play. Makes the pitch at midfield to the 45 and into Oklahoma territory down to the 30-yard line. A fine job on the pitch play right there as Courtney Lewis, a 24-yard gain.
And McGee does a really nice job of setting the timing of this up. Hold it, hold it, hold it, pitch late. If he pitches that too early, Clint Ingram, who's forcing the pitch, can now get involved in going out to try to defend on Courtney Lewis. Watch right here as he runs right at him and pitches it, and there's no way for Ingram to recover. The receiver downfield catching the ball late.
A&M has rushed for 160 yards. Courtney Lewis has got 106 of them against an Oklahoma defense that gives up 69 a game. Option play again, going to cut back into the middle and does a good job to make something out of nothing. That's a 5-yard gain. Oklahoma played the stretch and gave him a little room to cut back into, and he took it.
What's this guy trying to do? His best Reggie McNeil impersonation. He gets out top, and it looks like he's going to pitch it, but he saw that the cornerback came up, puts on the brakes, cuts back inside, and makes a nice positive yardage play out of it.
So we'll see whether or not McGee can get a touchdown going here. Well, he's looked pretty good on a couple of option plays. Minute 35 left to go in the third. The man in motion. A lot of people going different directions here. They fake the reverse. He's going to carry it again and gets out of bounds about a yard shy of the first down. He will pick up 5 on that play. Nice job by the backup quarterback here. Time permitting, we'll have the Thrifty Car Rental postgame report with John, Craig, and Aaron coming along. There'll be highlights and analysis from all the day's matchups, and maybe a couple of upsets will be part of the postgame report. A&M in a passing situation. Nickel defense coming out here for Oklahoma. There are the numbers for McGee.
And Brent Venables taking a timeout. He's upset about the personnel he has on. But I also think this is a good timeout because right now, this defense for Oklahoma is ragged. A lot of guys with their hands on their hips, chasing around this young quarterback who's got fresh legs.
Redshirt freshman McGee out of Burnett, Texas, getting the opportunity to play in 6 games as a backup, and then coming on in this game with McNeil injured. His dad was also a quarterback, a junior college quarterback in Texas, and Stephen McGee, a couple of wild passes early, 0 for 2 in that department, but in running the option game, he looked pretty solid and confident with it.
Yeah, you know, he's played, you can't discount when games are out of hand. Always give guys, especially quarterbacks, some time. And you can't discount the fact that McGee has got to play quite a bit this year. He has not gotten any playing time in this type of environment. And I go back to what we were talking about earlier when he first came in. Les Canning said, you know, we really like this young man. We think he's got tremendous upside. He works hard. He's smart. But I've told him time and time again, your preparation and how you get ready to play, we'll find out how well you're prepared when we need you. And this drive, I think Les Canning's pretty happy with what he's seen.
He threw for over 8,200 yards in 3A state football in Texas, had 101 passing touchdowns. So he obviously came out of a high school program where you put the ball up in the air. We'll see whether or not he's going to do that again here. All right, they get now the flag goes down.
They broke the huddle with 12 guys. Jason, and you know, you come from the sideline.
12 players from the sideline. That's a 5-yard penalty, 3rd down.
You know, you call the personnel, you know who's going out there, and Jason Carter, for whatever reason, he was not in that personnel grouping, ran out. So they had 12, and when he got out there, realized he was wrong, ran off, and was too late. That's a huge penalty.
That's going to force an entire offensive change here as to what they were going to run instead of 3rd and short yardage. 3rd and 1, it's 3rd and 6.
I mean, you've got guys with 265 pounds in Jaworski laying it. Now you're in a position where you have to throw it. The advantage now is the defensive line for Oklahoma.
Another big play on 3rd down for A&M. They've sustained this drive out of the shotgun. Can they get another 1st down or more? Big rush put on, and he just throws that one away. As McGee got leveled.
Boy, that's just a massive mental error on the part of Texas A&M. And McGee, it's an all-out blitz from the top. Steamer misses the linebacker coming in, Rufus Alexander.
That's the Roo cheer that you hear here.
Absolutely. And believe you me, Oklahoma is going to have plenty of guys checking their assignment on this field goal. for Texas A&M. Remember last year they were 2 for 2 on fakes. I think Pegram's going to kick this because Oklahoma, look at all these guys back here. They're ready for this.
This is a 43-yard kick on the far side hash marks. Pegram has been very accurate for them in his career, but not this time. He misses it wide to the left side. So Pegram does not put it through the uprights, and the man who has 53 career field goals, going for the all-time Big 12 record in that department, does not add to it there.
Last couple of ball games for Texas A&M, they have no depth, and they just start to get worn out in the second half. A couple of close ball games against Iowa State and Texas Tech. They came out against Texas Tech. They had a fumble on their first drive on offense, 3 and out on the next, and it was all over. And Iowa State was just the same as Brett Meyer really took over in that game for Iowa State. So hopefully, because their offense has had some time on the field, they won't have that type of meltdown today.
Bomar's pass is incomplete. Now the problem for Oklahoma is they've got to move the offense a little bit. In the first half, they scored on their first 3 possessions. But here in the second half, it has been a different story.
How frustrating for Texas A&M, Gary, though. 3 drives, 1 at the end of the half, and 2 so far in this half, where they get down there and 3 total points out of good drives where they made some plays. Yeah, they got some help from a couple of penalties, but they made some plays, got down there. McGee makes a couple plays that come away with 0.
This is a second down and 10. Bomar rolling out. His pass is going to be incomplete. Put his receiver up in danger territory right there. Malcolm Kelly, over 100 yards and receptions today, and he took a shot.
Well, you're calling boots and things like that with Bomar. He's got a bum ankle. And it's that left ankle as he's trying to press. He just can't set his feet. And Kelly just, well, it was accurate. Take back what I'm saying about Bomar. He put that one right on the money. And Kelly, older receivers will tell you when you're in the mix like that, you're going to get hit. So come up with the catch.
That was Marquise Carpenter who put the hit on. Bomar's now 15 out of 22, 218 yards in the air. He'll try it again here over the middle at the 40, and that one is intercepted. And A&M's going to get it back. Marquise Carpenter, who put the hit on in that last coverage, comes away with a football, and with 57 seconds left in the third, they go back on the offense.
And exactly what Dennis Franchione told Vince Welch coming out at the half. We've got to get some stops, and we have to cause turnovers. An excellent physical play by Carpenter. He's working one-on-one with Travis Wilson, and this is not something that A&M is used to seeing.
The 4th interception he's had. He leads the team in interceptions. And now Carpenter gives the A&M offense a chance to go at it again. Bomar, that is the 8th interception he has thrown on the season. Stephen McGee is back out. A&M, when they have McNeil at quarterback in these situations, they like to go for it all. This time they'll run it wide side and turns it to about the 32-33 yard line. Again, Courtney Lewis on the carry. And a gain of 7. A&M now has got to find a way to finish. They're moving the football.
They've got to finish it. Jason Carter has been amazing. He does so many different things, but the one thing that he has done extremely well today is block on the edge. That play right there is a 2 or 3 yard loss if Carter doesn't finish this on Onyenegechea. Just fighting and fighting and fighting, and they couldn't stretch it out long enough.
2nd down and 3 on this play. Here's the option again. Here's the pitch again to the 30, 25, 20, and down to the 15-yard line, Courtney Lewis. They are running that play, and in football, after a 17-yard gain, you usually say keep running it till they find a way to stop it.
What a nice job by McGee keeping it late again. The pitch man is there. Clint Ingram is there to force the pitch, and he keeps running at him and running at him and running at him. And once again, Jason Carter is fighting his tail off down the field so that Courtney Lewis right there on Onyenegechea, so that Courtney Lewis has room after the pitch to get going.
Lewis having his biggest day this season. He had a great year last year as a freshman All-American. This time down to the 5-yard line and diving and just missed. Lewis thought he'd gotten in with the football, tried to push it ahead of the pylon, He will get a 13-yard gain and take it right down to the goal line.
Boy, the left side of this offensive line just gashed the right side of the defensive line for Oklahoma. Now, elbow was down. The ball never hit the pylon. That was a good call. But the left side of the offensive line just was throwing bodies out of the way. And it was almost like Lewis thought, well, wait a minute, it's just too much room here. And then he had to make the cut to try to get to the pylon.
First down and goal. A&M out of the eye. They'll run that one straight ahead. Touchdown. That is Jaworski Lane. And Texas A&M has battled back from a 21-0 deficit to make this a 30-23 game.
What do you do when you have a 265-pound running back, Gary?
Give him the ball.
Yeah, I would say so.
That's what they've
His
done.
pads were about a foot off the ground. And even if there wasn't a hole there, this young man was going to get in the end zone.
So the interception results in the drive that scores the touchdown. 24 seconds, 38 yards, 4 plays. The extra point attempt is up and good. And a stunned record crowd here in Oklahoma.
It's almost hard to put into words how this game has changed. Wow. Just absolutely blew up Smith. I kind of feel sorry for Reggie coming in there, because when that guy's got a head of steam going, I don't know if anybody's going to be able to take him down.
And credits McGee, Stephen McGee, the backup quarterback who's come on here to run for McNeil. A great job in heading up that drive. Let's get down on the field. Vince.
Guys, Jaworski Lane is listed as 235 pounds in the program roster, and that makes Lane just laugh. He says he was 204 in the 7th grade. 260 in high school. He's a long way from 235. 265 today, he says, is about right on that 5'11 frame. No wonder he's got that nickname J-Train, right? You would hate to see him coming at you if you're a 180-pound defensive back.
He had started the last 3 games and obviously has become a real short yardage go-to guy in situations like that at the goal line.
Well, and he's going to fit right in with the offensive line. They're going to like him. He's not a big hard body guy like most running backs. Got himself a little Dunlap. It's where your gut's Dunlapped over your belt. So he's just going to be fine. Big boys, Hightower, all those guys, they're going to really enjoy playing with this guy. He's one of them.
That is Ty Brandon, another backup quarterback down there, who's having a word with his big running back there. And this Texas A&M team, they need one more win to become bowl eligible, and they got Texas in their last game. They want this one against Oklahoma. That will be bounced into the end zone, and the Sooners will take it on the 20. First down and 10 with 33 seconds left to go here in the 3rd. We talked at the top about how, while the Sooners were heavily favored in this game, this A&M team over the last 5 years even has been a club, no matter where they play here or at College Station, that gives this Oklahoma team all they need, and they're doing it again here today.
And offensively for Oklahoma, I mean, the first quarter we were talking about, it was going to look like the one blip on the radar in this series was 2 years ago when A&M came in here, just outmanned, and they lost big. And we thought it was going that way. Unbelievable, because the psyche of A&M has been so bruised lately that they're playing this well late.
Look at Peterson. Peterson going to the 30-yard line, gets up to the 35 and is driven out of bounds at the 39. Adrian Peterson, an 18-yard gain. He is having a tremendous game here today.
And guess what formation he does it from? The I formation.
Don't ask me to run sideways.
Yeah, they need to quit messing around. Adrian Peterson is not a sideways runner. He is a straight at the defense guy who makes cuts on the run. You know, they've installed that fancy gun run thing that everybody in the world is running. This is not a shotgun running. Stay with J.D. Runnels right there.
He's got over 100 yards in this game. May have more, looking to get to midfield. He's got the legs going. He's driven out of bounds at the 49-yard line by Melvin Bullitt. And a lot of conversation over there with Peterson. Peterson over 100 yards again, the 13th time in 20 career games, as he is just a second year, true sophomore playing. He's got 120 in this one.
And this is all set up, the I formation. Oklahoma has been blessed the last few years with one of the best fullbacks in college football, and J.D. Runnels. That is squaring a guy up and just absolutely taking Foliaki out of the play. Just get a hat on him, neutralize him, and let Peterson make the run. Just the old isolation onto that linebacker. With a guy like Runnels, it's going to work every time.
A real thankless job to be a blocker in the backfield, but boy, I'll tell you, the guys running behind you know. This will be carried into A&M territory with time ticking out here. Another 6-yard gain. Peterson now is going to run the football. They need to control it, and they need to get down into that goal line territory again with a fourth quarter still to come.
But it shouldn't have taken them this long to get to this offense, Gary. They were trying to get cutesy with all the shotgun and everything else. Line up in the eye. You've got an NFL fullback in Runnels. You've got one of the best players in all of college football in Peterson, even on a bad ankle. Stay in this I formation the rest of the way.
So, a quarter left to go, and A&M indeed is in it. College football will return after this message and a word from our ABC stations. You're watching ABC Sports Championship Television. Oklahoma leads it 30-24. Reggie McNeil with the sweatsuit on the far side without the helmet comes back out. Obviously, he is done for the day. For this team, they need one win with 2 games to be played, this one in Texas, in order to be bowl eligible. That's why it's so important, and they're making a game out of it. Oklahoma, though's got Peterson running again. Breaking to the sideline, the 40, avoids one tackle, comes back the other way. That may have cost him a yard, actually, as he ends up probably being a yard ahead and having to come back, and ends up with a 3-yard gain total out of it.
After a great punt by Oklahoma, Reggie McNeil dropped back in his own end zone, and as he was scrambling, Pendleton from the backside as IU was coming from the front side and landed right on that ankle. They had to cart him off. But Stephen McGee, who the coaches have thought has a very bright future, has come in and played very well. And you would think with Reggie out, as explosive as he is, they wouldn't have a chance. But they've scored a touchdown since and cut it to 6.
Second down and 6. Peterson remains in there out of the backfield. 40, grabbing onto the back of the jersey, and it takes 4 of the linebackers and cornerbacks to drive him out of bounds. 2-yard gain. Melvin Bullitt and Marquise Carpenter moved up to take him out of the field of play. And Peterson now consistently running the football here at the end of the 3rd and beginning of the 4th.
And what that allows you to do now is get you back into that game. Well, I don't know why Peterson would come off here, Gary. You know, you're 3rd and medium to short. Leave him in the eye, and that sets up play action. If you're A&M, you still have to respect on 3rd and 4, number 28. And now you go into the gun formation, which really hasn't worked today.
Keywan Jones comes in for Peterson. 3rd down conversion attempt here. That's going to be completed. A tackle missed and a big one. 30. It's a 1st down and more up to the 22-yard line. J.D. Runnels, a 16-yard gain. So the young man we were talking about as the great fullback blocker this time handles the football.
What a really nice job. Runnels comes in motion, and all he's doing is running a flat route. But watch the duck right here. Out of the corner of his eye, he saw the safety coming over the top and ducks underneath. This is a guy, he's been a pure fullback his entire college career, but if you go back to his days at Carl Albert High School in Midwest City, Oklahoma, he was a wide receiver and a tight end. He's got great ball skills.
He had 8 receptions coming into today's play and gets an enormous 1st down right there. On the pitch back, looking for a little run at the 20 and down to the 11-yard line. Alan Patrick, a sophomore, is listed at about 5 deep on the chart, gets 10 yards. He has scored a touchdown in this game.
Well, about 3 or 4 weeks ago, he's listed at about 3 or 4 deep as a safety. He came over to running back when they had, well, don't forget Dante Hickson was also hurt for a while. Adrian Peterson obviously hurt, and they had to bring Alan Patrick over. And right away, as he comes off looking a little bit gimpy, right away the coaches thought, wow, this guy's really good in the open field.
Jacob Gutierrez had an elbow injury the last game. He was expected to play today, but he has not been part of this game at all. Oklahoma going for another touchdown. Peterson will take it inside the 10. He will get a gain of 3. And with the clock running now, if they can punch one more across, the clock and Oklahoma becomes enemies of A&M.
Well, don't let the guys get too excited if you do score, because you're sitting here in 2-point conversion territory up 6. That's something the coaches should always, guys, they want to celebrate so much and they lose some of their wind, and sometimes you're going to delay a game. You got to get it in first, but they're in the right formation to do it, though.
8 plays, 71 yards. A little over 3 minutes so far on this drive. 2 receivers set up near side on the 2nd down and 7. Peterson 8 yards back. And Peterson takes it up to about the 7-yard line. Crashing off tackle. Michael Bennett move in to put the hit on.
Adrian Peterson, we saw him a couple of weeks ago against Nebraska. He took the week off against Baylor. 146 yards rushing in that ball game against the Cornhuskers. He ran great early in the game, and then he had an ankle injury that made us think when he came off and he jumped, he ripped his helmet off, we thought he might be done for the day. But he's had a couple of runs that make you think that that wasn't that bad. It looked worse, obviously, than it was.
Owns the single-season rushing record, Peterson does, here at Oklahoma, set last year. Bomar looking into the end zone, and it is caught. Touchdown! Travis Wilson. He has been their leading receiver all season, and Wilson finds this one right off the grass.
Yeah. And he does a great job of running right at Ronald Jones, and Jones, thinking he might cut to the corner, gives up his inside and cuts to the inside. And here, of course, you were up 6, so after the touchdown you go for 2.
36-24. They'll try for the 2-point conversion. Bomar will work with a couple of receivers in close and a slot to the right side. Looks to the near flats and will not get the 2-point conversion. You can't throw it across. They got the TD though, and Bomar got it with a touchdown pass and a good one to Travis Wilson cutting across. And Wilson, with a big touchdown catch, makes it 36-24 with 11:09 to go in the 4th. Oklahoma on top. Wilson is their leader in receptions, but amazingly that was his first touchdown catch of the year.
And he catches one-on-one coverage out there because of the motion. And Ronald Jones just has to stay to the inside. And Wilson, a guy who was fighting an ankle, he's their most veteran receiver. Does a nice job on the move. And this drive reminds me of the game against Nebraska. Nebraska, Zach Taylor got a little hot. They'd scored 14 points straight to cut the lead to 7. And Oklahoma went on a 12-play, 85-yard drive on that one to score and kind of ice it. Kind of felt that way.
Line drive kick handled at the 7-yard line. Jason Carter to the 20, 25, trying to turn it outside. Good return. He'll take it up to the 32-yard line for a 1st and 10. A&M will get another shot at it. Their offense has been really good today, and their defense not that bad either. I mean, they've played a very solid football game. And if they don't come back, they're going to look at a couple of these drives they've had in the second half where they got into scoring territory and couldn't get anything out of it.
And the one at the end of the second quarter as well, when they brought in their quote-unquote long-range specialist kicker, who happens to be left-footed versus right-footed Todd Pegram. Kind of a weird snap. Brandon couldn't quite get it. And you just can't blow those opportunities. When you're fighting and scratching for everything you can get, you've got to come out with points on all 3 of those drives, not one of the 3.
So McGee, who's got the arm, has not been able to complete since coming on for Reggie McNeil. And will take that one on the corner. He likes to run it. He's going to get a 1st down, and look how much he's grown up in less than a half of football. As soon as he got to the sideline, he went out of bounds rather than getting nailed as he did the first time he ran the ball when he came in for Reggie McNeil. 11-yard gain on that one. Great to have you with us, everybody, here on ABC. We're in Oklahoma. Record crowd on hand here in Norman as Texas A&M making a football game out of what many felt would be a rout. With Ed Cunningham, Vince Welch, and our crew, I'm Gary Thorne. And A&M's got the football back and time if they can get one in on this drive. They are looking to win one of their last 2. A&M is to get to a bowl game. Oklahoma's trying to run the table in the final 3 and take a shot at the Cotton Bowl. Fakes it up the middle. Big hole off tackle. He'll take that into Oklahoma territory. And likes to call his own number. Another 12-yard gain for McGee.
Well, and this is just Calvin Thibodeau, the defensive end. He's got to stay here. He starts going down inside, so as he fakes it off, McGee just comes around the side. These defensive ends right now, you would think they would have had a tough time with Reggie McNeil in the game. But the option and the gun runs for Texas A&M with McGee in the game instead of McNeil, they've been the difference. They've gone to almost exclusively running the ball.
He has had 6 carries for 43 yards since coming on for the injured starter, Reggie McNeil. Out of the shotgun again. He's got the pitch. He'll dish it wide to the 40-yard line and close to another first down. As Zach Latimer moved up on the hit, Jason Carter, a 9-yard gain.
Now here's where Texas A&M needs to start being aware of the clock. Because it's their running game that has given them the most yardage here at 10 minutes and 8 and shrinking, down 36-24, obviously a 2-score game. You've got to start maybe speeding it up because you're not throwing the ball. There's not as many opportunities to go out of bounds and complete balls and things. I think A&M needs to start being concerned about the clock right now.
Stephen McGee will have 2 wide receivers coming to the near side. Out of that shotgun, the fake pump going for the touchdown into the corner long, and just a lot of bump and run. It was overthrown, and he knew he was not going to have a chance to catch it, so Kerry Franks just tried to make sure it could not be intercepted. So it'll go as an incomplete pass. Want to remind you, coming up second half of our college football doubleheader, most of you are going to see number 1 USC take on Cal. Other games, Kansas, Texas, Miami, Wake Forest, or Georgia Tech, Virginia. Next, right here on ABC. Check your local listings for the games in your area. Beautiful day here in Norman, Oklahoma, and what a surprisingly close football game. 0 for 4 in the passing department. McGee out of the shotgun, hands it off. That's still on his feet at the 25-yard line and carries it down to the 11. And that is Jaworski Lane, who scored that 1-yard touchdown plunge. And you see he can do more than that.
He spun out of the tackle, and he hesitated for half a second. Oh, wow, there's nobody here. Get going. He is surprised. If that's not Jerome Bettis, yeah, I don't know who it is. Runs like him, the feet are maybe 1 inch off the ground, kind of shuffles.
You see him put his arm down, he was brushing the tackler off his leg. He's got 43 yards, a first down and 10 with the ball at the 16-yard line. Great field position. Again, the option, turned back to tackle. McGee's got some room inside the 10. He'll take it down to the 7-yard line as Lewis Baker came up to help on the tackle. Another 9-yard gain.
So difficult right now because A&M, I think they need to be in. It's kind of strange because they're running the ball with such great success to be in some type of hurry-up offense. The problem is they've got their backup quarterback in. He may not have the command of the hurry-up offense as well as Reggie McNeil, because you've got to think Oklahoma's going to come back and just go right back to the I runs. And at 8:37 and moving, this game is starting to shrink.
Well, they got to get it in. It's a second down and short yardage. Rolling it on the option play. He'll take it for the first down, and a flag is down behind the play.
Oh, they're going to get Dominic Steamer on a hold, and Steamer's just had himself a very difficult day. A couple of false starts.
Holding 74 on the offense. 10-yard penalty. Repeat second down.
Steamer's just had a difficult time. He's been pulled off the field a couple of times. Let's watch him right here as he goes. It's just everybody's kind of zone blocking on this one. I don't know how that's holding. That's just not a good call. I mean, Allen Davis, he didn't impede his progress. Yes, he was behind him, but there's nothing illegal about that. That's a really ticky-tacky call in this point in the game by an official. Unless he grabbed him and took him down, which he did not, you don't throw that flag. That's a bad call.
And that is a very big call as it sets up a second down and 11. Now the first down is near the 5-yard line. Lane again on the carry. Boy, he is some tough to bring down. Lewis Baker moved up after a 5-yard gain. Jaworski Lane. This has been the story for A&M in this game. They've got the offense going, but they get down towards that red zone.
They hit a wall.
Yeah, they hit a wall. They've had a couple of penalties. They've had bad snaps, incomplete passes, drop passes. They could easily have 2 more touchdowns in this game.
Yeah, and you're down 12, so you are at touchdown time. So this is 4-down territory for Texas A&M. And I think some type of screen or something here is the right call. McGee, you can look at a fade down at the bottom, but I think the play might be some type of delayed screen.
2 tight ends are involved here. McGee wants to carry, and he's going to get sacked. Corey Bennett moved in to put the sack on. This team from Oklahoma that had 29 sacks coming into this football game gets another big one.
And that is in fact what McGee was trying to set up. Watch as he starts to go back. He's trying to set up the screen right in the middle. It was Chris Alexander, the fullback, who looked like he was going to try to get out in the screen, but Allen Davis does such a nice job closing in before he could get there.
This is going to be a 34-yard field goal, I guess. As Pegrin apparently is going to try it, unless it's a fake. It is not. It is up, and it is good. So Pegrin comes on and kicks the field goal.
You're down 12, Gary. You're down 12. You've got to go for it there on 4th down, I think.
It makes it 36-27. You got to get the ball a couple more times now.
The pulse-pounding night of the year.
Well, an interesting call here in the 4th quarter for A&M. They are now trailing. They got the field goal, but it's 36-27.
Yeah, you call it interesting. I call it bad. I just don't. At that point, you're down 12. You have to score. There's 6 minutes and 47 seconds left in the game. You just saw on the drive before what Oklahoma's going to do. They're going to put Adrian Peterson in the I formation, J.D. Runnels right in front of him, and they're going to pound at your undermanned defense. They're going to try to shrink this clock as much as possible. I just don't think you're going to get the chance in this ball game to score 2 more times.
Well, they're counting obviously on an well, I say this, I would think on an onside kick here in a recovery.
Yeah, I don't think they'll do it here though. They're going to get at least 1 more chance, but still, Gary, that's such a low percentage play. You're down inside the 15-yard line. I think you've got to try to score.
Well, let's see how it works for it. Texas A&M, they'll put that one deep all the way through the end zone. Oklahoma's going to take over on the 20-yard line. And we are obviously going to see Adrian Peterson come out. Bomar, who despite that bad ankle has continued to play very well, even though the passing has become that much more difficult for him. And 17 of the 20 as a result have been kept on the ground.
And same. Chuck Long is going to do the exact same thing he did on the last drive. It took a little while to get there, to get back to the 0-4 offense, which was I formation, and let Peterson pound it. But I would think unless they absolutely have to throw the ball on a 3rd and 8, 3rd and 9, it's going to be Peterson off right tackle, Peterson off left tackle, and maybe a screen.
Another 100-yard day for Adrian Peterson, 20-yard line, 1st down and 10. Bomar looking for him deep out of that backfield. Whoa, he gets met at the 20 and still makes something out of it. You see the flags go flying. That is Johnny Jolly, playing injured, who moved in and put that hit on Peterson. And it is a holding call, a break for A&M, as that's going to be against Oklahoma.
If we have to pick players of the game right now, it's that guy and 97, Jolly, for Texas A&M. Johnny Jolly was not even supposed to play today. Sprained his ankle last week against Texas Tech, barely practiced this week. He has been a force. Him and Red Bryant have played, they've just played great today. You cannot, it's hard to put into words how bad this A&M defense has been, especially stopping the pass, but those 2 big guys in the middle have played great.
They are missing on that A&M defense Justin Warren, their leading tackler on the season, in fact #1 in the Big 12 in tackles per game. He is not even here. The injury, Jackson Appel is not here. He is injured. He's been a tremendous tackler for them in the last 2 years in the backfield. That'll be taken at the 15-yard line, and Malcolm Kelly is taken down after a 5-yard gain. Let's take a look at this week's BCS standings, brought to you by Allstate with the USC and Texas now firmly on top.
Alabama playing LSU, still Auburn to go. Miami, Florida actually flipped over Alabama in a couple of the opinion polls, but if SC and Texas went out, Texas with Kansas today, USC with Cal. Now remember, Cal was the last team to beat them before they have run off 31 straight, but those 2 teams went out. That's who's going to be in the Rose Bowl.
They're the ones that will go, and looking strong in it right now. Bomar under a big rush, screams this one out to the 20-yard line, 25, up to the 30-yard line. Great second effort by J.D. Runnels. And Runnels trying to get the crowd into it. He knows how big these first downs are. Possession and control of the clock, a 16-yard gain.
Well, this young man's initials are JDR. Next year, he's going to be in the NFL. I played with a guy with the Seattle Seahawks named Max Strong out of Georgia. Very unassuming guy, very nice guy, highly competitive, didn't run his mouth, just lined up, blocked people, and caught the ball out of the backfield. Max Strong's in his 14th year in the NFL. You could play for a really long time if you're a productive fullback, and J.D. Runnels is that type of player.
Omar continues one of his better days in the passing department, even with a bad ankle and a big fumble. That ball is loose, and A&M thinks they got it, and they did. Well, maybe you're a genius as a coach on the far side. You got the 3, you get a fumble, you get the ball back, you got 5:28 left to go, and you got good field position. And Johnny Jolly again was the man who moved in on the hit.
And we've talked about injuries and young guys coming in. Earlier in the game, we talked about John Cooper, a true freshman starting at center because Chris Bush is out with a broken hand. And that ball just didn't come up cleanly. And it's so difficult when the ball starts getting kicked around. It's always the advantage defense. But one of the issues Oklahoma has had with injuries comes up and bites them.
Another fumble. A&M scored on a fumble earlier in the first half. Stephen McGee back out there. Oklahoma's had 3 turnovers. A&M only 1. McGee's looking into the end zone. They get it in the flats, complete on the first. Oh my gosh.
You know, that's the 4th drop we've seen today. 1, Martellus Bennett was behind, but that's the 3rd drop where guys get hit right on the number. There's only 1 number on that jersey, so he didn't hit him between the numbers. He hit him right on the number. This ball's got to be caught.
That is a first down. That is inside the 20.
Clock stopped. I mean, all of the good things that come along with it. And Jason Carter, he's played his heart out today. He's been amazing downfield. He's done a couple of different things. But your seniors, with all of the guys hurt, your seniors have to make plays right now.
That'll bring up a 2nd down and a 10. A&M on the fake, running the option. McGee cuts back inside, somehow gets away. Inside the 20 for a first down. Somebody forgot to tell him the backup quarterbacks are not supposed to be leading ground gainers.
No.
That's another 13-yard gain.
Well, you know what's amazing about him is how many times he stops and cuts back. You know, a lot of quarterbacks, they'll just kind of stay on their track in that option, but when he sees the defensive end kind of drifting a little bit, that's the 3rd time that he's cut back underneath. You expect to see plays like that out of this fella, not the redshirt freshman.
Reggie McNeil's watching. He still hasn't completed a pass, and we told you he's got.
You don't need him.
No.
Why would you need him?
He's got a great arm, though, so beware. The option again makes the pitch to the 20. Read well. It'll be at the 16-yard line. A gain of 2 for Courtney Lewis. Wow. Want to remind you, time permitting, we'll have the Thrifty Car Rental postgame report as John, Craig, and Aaron are standing by. Highlights and analyses from all of the day's games and maybe a couple of upsets along the way as teams put themselves in bowl position.
Well, A&M has put themselves in position, Gary, to need to go a little faster on offense. 4:25. I mean, I know they just got the turnover, but you can't expect Oklahoma's going to turn it over again the next time. And they're just, because they're running the ball so much, the clock is just burning away.
Got to go to the end zone here, and that's what he's going to try and do, but there wasn't anybody open. He cuts back inside. We'll take it up to the 11-yard line where he's taken down. It'll be a 6-yard gain, but as Ed's noting here, it means the clock is running and there aren't any points going up on the board.
Well, and Chijoke Onyeka up top was one-on-one with Carter, and he could not. It was all one-on-one on top, and that's exactly where McGee was going to go. He could not have had better coverage on this. Watch McGee. He wants this the whole way, going to the cut, and McGee just couldn't do it. Nice coverage by Onyeka.
A timeout will be taken. A game up for grabs here in the 4th quarter. Oklahoma's got the lead in front of a record crowd here in their home field, but A&M's looking to cut into it. College football, ABC Sports, brought to you by Hummer. Check out the H2 Hummer like nothing else. Dr. Pepper and your local Dr. Pepper bottler. Dr. Pepper, one taste and you get it. And ADT, America's residential and commercial security leader. Oklahoma, where the Winds and A&M have come sweeping down the plains. And A&M trying to put one across here with 3:38 left to go. They're going to go to the end zone right side. Nobody open there. McGee still looking. Big rush from a cornerback. Says, I'll try it. It'll be incomplete. On the 3rd down and a couple, he didn't have anybody to throw to.
Yep, and now they have to go for the field goal because of kicking the field goal on the last one. But McGee has been, his presence It's obvious he's got a pretty lively arm. That throw to Jason Carter was great. But his presence, bouncing outside to get away from IU, and the quick decisions he's been making in the option game, it's just been spectacular.
This is a very important field goal attempt, obviously. Todd Pegrin trying to put this one through, a 27-yarder. He's made 2, 42 and 34. He has missed a 43-yarder. This one is up. No rush put on at all, and it is good. So now they need that football one more time. 3:30 left to go. They take advantage, A&M does, of the Oklahoma turnover and make it 36-30. Defense a chance for that one last score. Let's take a look at our Pacific Life game summary.
Back and forth we've gone after a first quarter, Gary, that, I mean, we thought this thing was in the books. 21-0. Adrian Peterson looking like the Adrian Peterson of old. Then the injury to Reggie McNeil made us think even further that this ball game was over. But McGee comes in and has looked great. He's got no completions on 6 attempts, but it doesn't matter. The running game has been spectacular since he's been in. The option, it's been the option game. You said during a break how impressed you are with how quickly he makes decisions. A lot of times a young guy like a freshman will go in and kind of hesitate, and somebody will come whack him, and he's just made his decisions and gone with it.
Richie Bean will do the kicking. And boy, these kickers have not given the kickoff specialists any chance to do anything but watch as the football ends up way back off the brick wall, and it'll be at the 20-yard line, 1st and 10 Oklahoma.
And here's where the clock, earlier you said Adrian Peterson and the clock are against the Aggies. Well, here's where both of these elements could end this game without Texas A&M getting the ball back. They only have one timeout is what's really hurt.
Excuse me, I was going to say each team only has one timeout remaining here. Bomar coming out, and of course Peterson in that backfield. 28 is the man they will look to get a couple of first downs. The defense, which has been the Achilles heel all season long for A&M, has got a chance to make up for a lot of that right here in this series. Peterson with a fullback in front of him escapes one tackler and will take it down to the 25-yard line. It'll be a gain of 5. Big first down yardage.
And A&M holding on to that last timeout because of the big yardage. You don't really want to burn it after a first down. You keep it for 2nd or 3rd down if you know you're going to get a chance to get them into 4th down situation.
Want to thank the SIDs, Texas A&M, Alan Cannon, and here in Oklahoma, Kenny Mosman, for all their help all season long. Thanks, guys, and your staffs for the great cooperation we have had. Oklahoma looking to possess this football for the remainder of the time on this clock. Peterson's going to get caught and thrown for a loss. Back to the 18-yard line, coming through the line on that left side for a big tackle.
That's a huge play because now A&M does not have to use the timeout. Well, those guys in the middle have just played so well. Red Bryant and Johnny Jolly have just been on the job all day long, and A&M not having to use the timeout because they've got them in 3rd and 12.
Now we'll see what the play call is going to be here. Do you put the ball in the air, trying to get that first down?
I think you do. You know, you might think, well, let's try to make them burn more clock, but they've got the one timeout.
They're going to use it.
Now, well, A&M's got the one timeout, so even if you run the ball and you don't pick it up, they're going to call the timeout. So either way, the clock would have stopped. I think you throw this ball and try to pick up the first.
Oklahoma uses their final timeout. And if you see a great Pontiac game-changing performance today, you can nominate it at ESPN.com. Keyword, search Pontiac. Pontiac will contribute $5,000 to the winning school's scholarship fund.
Well, this is the ball game. If A&M gets a stop, they've got a chance. If they don't, Oklahoma's going to be able to run out the clock. You look at roughly 3 offensive plays and eat 2 minutes off the clock, and that's right where we are.
2:02 left to go. Dennis Franconi, the coach over there for A&M, has never lost. He's 13-0 with this team when they have a turnover advantage in a game. They have the turnover advantage 3-1 in this game. Will that good luck statistic hold up for him here today?
Well, it's been missed opportunities for Texas A&M. I don't want to disparage anything they've done. They should be so proud of how they bounce back. Vince Welch earlier in the game gave the report about Devin Gregg telling him guys hanging their heads, and a lot of bad things happened early, but they hung in there. They've got a bunch of young guys, but opportunities. It's all of those field goals they had to try to kick when it looked like they had the offense going. As soon as they got inside the red zone, just got stuck.
They have done a tremendous rushing job against this Oklahoma defense, which is second in the nation in that department. But here's a very important play. 3rd down and 12. Oklahoma, Bomar back out of the shotgun. They put the rush on. Open at the 30, 35, 40, and down to midfield. That was the big play of the football game. And Bomar, working out of that position, gets a 33-yard reception on the near sideline for the 1st down. And he went to Joaquin Iglesias, who has had just 1 reception today.
And Joaquin is a guy who had the huge catch against Baylor in the overtime to win the game and get the touchdown. These are all young players making plays. And Rhett Bomar now has 3 throws in 3 straight games that make you think that the payoff is here for Oklahoma. He had the great throw against Baylor to Iglesias for the touchdown. He had the 3rd and 10, 21-yarder to Travis Wilson to finish off the game against Nebraska, and that throw there was perfect.
Now they will just try and run the ball out. About a 2-yard gain for Jones on that. And a timeout will be taken. This will be the final timeout either team has, as A&M will use it here. Today, Chevrolet players of the game. They are John Jolly, Texas A&M, who, as Ed said, we weren't even sure he was going to play. And Adrian Peterson, who's had yet another great rushing day of over 100 yards. In recognition of their efforts, Chevrolet will make a $1,000 contribution to each university's general scholarship fund.
Well, in the last ball game against Nebraska, Adrian Peterson on his back pad had the words, "I'm back." It was all spelled out with B-A-A-A-A-C-K. It looked like he was going to be, it looked like it was going to be "I'm gone" again after tweaking his ankle, but came back. And really was the difference, because you felt like if this game would have gone for a little bit longer, if it had got stretched out a little bit more, that A&M had all of the momentum, but it was a few key runs by Peterson that started shrinking the clock. And then what an unbelievable play by 2 freshmen right there, Iglesias and Bomar. They hooked up for a big one against Baylor. That one just as big. It wasn't a touchdown, but if they don't pick up that 1st down, Texas A&M gets the ball back, and the way they've been driving may have stuck it in.
Now Bomar set a new high today with 298 yards passing, as he's 20 out of 28. 1 TD, 1 interception, 298 yards. And we've got some great football still to come your way as the second half of our college football doubleheader. Most of you will see USC trying to maintain that #1 spot against Cal. Kansas, Texas, Miami, Wake Forest, or Georgia Tech, Virginia next on ABC. Check your local listings. Minute 24 left to go. They will squeeze it in here. Just run the football, keep it in bounds. Jones will do that as he takes that ball down to the 42-yard line. And Oklahoma is going to pick up a tough win. They will go 5-1 in the Big 12, 6-3 overall. They have kept their hopes alive for maybe a Cotton Bowl berth. And for Texas A&M, they'll be 3-4 in the Big 12, 5-5 overall. And A&M now has got to beat Texas in order to become bowl eligible.
And for Oklahoma, they started the season 2-3, and everybody was running around Chicken Little style, yelling, "The sky is falling, the sky is falling." Well, since that start, they've run off 6 straight wins, and those losses were to TCU, UCLA, and Texas, combined 26-2. So the sky wasn't falling. They had a lot of young guys that had to come along.
Reset the game clock to 109, the 25-second clock.
There you see the losses Oklahoma's had. And as Ed's pointing out here, you got only 2 losses in the teams that have beaten Oklahoma. So it's one of those almost.
Yeah, you've got a team that's looks like it's headed for the Rose Bowl. UCLA that's going to finish with maximum 2 losses, and TCU that's already wrapped up the Mountain West Conference. So they had a tough schedule to start. A lot of young guys. They made the change from Paul Thompson to Rhett Bomar. They were dealing with Adrian Peterson's injuries, which I mean, you can't even put into context how important that guy is to this team. And all the coaches did was say, no, we're okay. We got a bunch of young guys, but they'll figure it out.
Clock is running. Jones on the carry. He'll be taken down. And Texas is playing, in fact, right now. Let's find out about that. John Saunders.
Gary off to a pretty good start. Vince Young, 45 yards to Limas Swede. Great touch on this ball. On the ensuing kickoff, it was fumbled by Kansas, recovered by Texas for a touchdown. Extra point pending, a 13-0 lead for the Longhorns, Gary.
All right, John, Texas not taking long to get their offense going in that game as they attempt to remain perfect. For Bob Stoops and Oklahoma, it's going to be his 40th win in his 7th season here at home, as he will be 40-2 when this clock runs down. They're going to take a 5-yard penalty here. There's Bob Stoops. He'll be 73-15 after this win in 7 seasons here. Of course, back-to-back national championship games that they went to, including a 12-1 mark last year and an 8-0 Big 12 record.
Yep, and they worked this clock just perfect. You know, the coaches have the little file in front of them that says, with 1 timeout, how much clock can you run off? And they got it to 2. So now, on this 4th down, just step, 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 step. He fumbled the snap. Can you believe that?
It is over, though, and Oklahoma has won the football game 36-30. It was not easy for Ed Cunningham, Vince Welch, and all of our crew. I'm Gary Thorne. Thanks so much for joining us. Some more great college football is going to be coming your way right here on ABC. From Oklahoma, we bid you good day.